Come. I found over 1,700 times in the Word of God where this word is used, come, and that's not coming, the rest of the comes, but that's just come on. Preaching my heart out for 45 minutes to an hour on that one word, come. And it was one of our Lord's favorite words. Come unto me, come and drink, come and dine. Jesus said, come, come. And it goes on and 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 on. In its application. Come! What did Jesus say to his disciples? Come! There's no room for discussion, friend. Guess what? Come! Come! It commands obedience. Come! How many of you had the Holy Ghost come in you? He was crucified for you. He died for you. He did everything for you. It's time for you to... Oh! On that one word, come. And it was one of our Lord's favorite words. Come unto me. Come and drink. Come and dine. Jesus said, come, come. And it goes on and 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 on.
That's what I'm talking about. First time singing the songs for Riverboat Jack. Shout out. I don't know what I'm doing really, but I got passion. That's what it's about. It's all about passion.
squishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion, you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack, Riverboat Jack, Riverboat
Hello, 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 everybody. How we doing? Accidentally clicked on a thing. Hello. Howdy, 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 folks. Hello, Cloud Dancer. Hello, Alice Grimm. Hello, Comrade Girl 2018. Hello, Max Danger. Hello, Burning Sock. Hello, Yannick de Newburg. Hello, Megan Fox's Giant Boobs. Hello, Baby Gorilla. Hello, a raccoon named Spanky. Hello, Liz Galahad. Hello, Sheepish T-Rex. Hello, Clueless. Hello, Jenny Ah. Hello, Quinn Decker. Hello, Zyros. Hello, Kiva and Defer. Hello, Cute Dark Arts. Hello, Sylvie DB. Hello, how we doing? Shadow Kuro, welcome back. Hello, The Last Homely House. Hello, New Jazz Dog. Nah, that's a classic. The Cum Preacher Jazz Dog song is like an absolute must. Hello, I am certain. Hello, Luddite Rose. Hello, some dumbass. Hello, King Kerplunk, hello Shakespeare, hello Matatiahu, hello Nelson JD, hello Punky Gal, hello Coder Joe, hello! How we doing, folks? Hello Banana Brains. Hello! Jack's audio sounds different tonight. Ooh, let me see if I can fix that. I have been working to try and fix the tech issues, so it would not surprise me if I accidentally janked something up. Yep, it was using a different application. All right, how does that sound? There's a bit of an echo. This should be back to normal. This sounds okay. Yeah, but like, did it change? I just turned on a bunch of stuff. Still echoey. But I didn't change anything. I didn't do anything. This sounds the same? Huh. This is fine. But like, God, no, like the problem isn't, oh, maybe some acoustic foam would help. Acoustic foam would always help. The problem is it sounds different from yesterday to today, and I don't know why. The treble or high is super crisp. Let me check something real quick. Could it have been changed by one of the software updates? Probably. I also had to mess around with the wires. So it might be wire sounds. Let's see here. No, this is all the same. Sound is good quality, just a slightly different timbre to it. I mean, it might be that I knocked my my microphone around a little bit. Let me try this. There we go. How's that? Do. Testing, 1, 2, 3. That's a bit better. It doesn't sound bad, just different. No, but that's a problem. That's much better?
My wallet is gonna hate me. I got in line for the 2 terabyte Steam machine.
Well, you know what? Hats off to you. I look at that and I'm like, man, that'd be cool to have, but a little bit outside of my range, you know. But Philip November, thank you for the $5 super chat and for being the first person to support stream today. Very much appreciate it. And also from Vertical Chat, no less. Also, Carissa Wyland, thank you very much for the 10 gifted memberships just right off the bat. I very much appreciate that. Holy shit. Thank you so much. Your wallet will love you when you save money on all them Steam sales. That's true. Ooh, is system audio enhancements turned on? That could be. Do. Do 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 do. Let's see. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Do sound properties. Do 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 do.
Sorry for getting ahead of everything. I wanna ask what you think of Meta's Touch. I recently saw a video they had with Brian Tyler Cohen and wanted to skip it, but I like them. Meta's Touch are Republicans that are sensible.
Yeah, I have no problem with critically engaging with conservative content, you know? Like, there is right now a strategic alliance between folks on the left and certain figures on the right. Like, a good example of this might be the Bulwark. A lot of people don't know this, but they're all neocons. Like, every person who works at the Bulwark is a never Trump Republican. And they do have good scoops from time to time. It's just you know, you gotta be aware of what you're watching and what their biases are. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of that when it comes to some of these outlets. Aha! All right. That might have been it. That might have been it. Is it better now? Hello. There we go. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I uploaded So guys, I've been, part of the reason I'm late today is I've been doing a lot of stuff, just taking care of the house and all that stuff. But also, there's still echo. Well, you guys might have to live with that. Like, well, yes. Okay. I'm not going to be able to do much about the echo. Like from a hallway. Let me see if this works. Okay, is that better?
Everyone, did you exercise today? The fascists did, why haven't you?
Is this better now? I do have legs. Yes, actually. Same as before, it's much less. I do not understand what is happening right now. Let's see. Let's see. No, that probably didn't help. Okay. Okay. How's that? No, it's not much different. I thought you always had a noise gate. I do have a noise gate. That's the thing that's confusing me. Like when I am talking right now, there is a there is there is a noise gate. Okay, anime sidekick gal can't tell any difference. Are you sure you guys aren't?
Compressor is hitting harder, which is increasing the level of background noise, which includes the room echo.
Let's see. How's that? I changed the audio a little bit. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Do. Better? Much better? It left completely when you leaned into the mic. It's significantly better. Huh. You know, I'll probably have to go over this with my editor. That did it. Okay, you think I sound like I normally would. Okay. Try speaking louder. This is about as loud as I'm gonna go. And if I go louder than this, then like I'm gonna be like yelling at somebody. Where's the on-screen chat from? Riverboat.gg. Right there. Closer to the mic, it goes away. Yeah, because I understand that this is a mic where I should be talking much closer to it. But also, like, there's a limit to what I can do. There's a limit to how much I can eat this mic with this kind of setup. It sounds a touch muffled, like you're at the edge of the gain field. I don't know what that means. It sounds like reverb is on. You're understandable. It's just different. But see, this is what's baffling me. I haven't changed a goddamn thing. It sounds a bit different. I've had a compressor on the entire time. Like I don't know. I just turned it off completely. Sounds like there's some noise canceling. Yes, Crunchy the Clown, there is a progressive wave in progress.
Because I'm on mobile. If I watch on the regular video, the back button covers the super chat feature.
If I watch the back button, covers the super chat feature. Weird. I'm sorry. I just want to get to the Segi. I would love to get to the Segi too. I don't know why Jack is getting defensive about it. Hey, how about you sit in front of several hundred people and try and figure out audio issues on the fly? How about you give that a shot? You see how fun it is for you. I'm having a ball. I did check the Windows microphone settings, and yeah, there was some like AI bullshit that they turned on for audio enhancements, and I turned that off. And I'm pretty upset that it got turned on in the first place. You sound fine to me. I mean, I would like to think that I sound fine. And yet, let's see here. Because I have not changed anything between this stream and last stream. When you guys are talking about me sounding different, are you guys meaning the echo? Because I can't hear the echo. But are you referring to the fan sounds? There's no echo anymore. Okay, so we're not dealing with an echo. You hear no fan. Okay, that's good. It sounds like you're recording with a different mic. I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to unplug something else and plug it. Okay. Okay. How's that? How is this? Hello? 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 We back? Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I turned on the monitor mix, and like it was definitely different and weird. I think we have to turn on the mic gain again real quick. Wait. I think I need to restart this audio software. Sorry, we are fixing this. I think we're on the verge of finishing up the fix. I've just been struggling with this shit all day, and I'm so upset. I'm hopeful. Like I do not know what happened to cause several days of tech issues, but I'm ready for it to be done now. All right, let's turn this on. kind of had a tint to it. Yeah, exactly. Like I could also hear that it was like bad, and I think it's because I was trying to fix an issue right before stream. Right before stream. There we go. Right before stream, we had an issue where there were system sounds of a USB being plugged in and unplugged over and over and over again. And could not for the life of me figure out which USB it was. So I'm glad we've figured this all out. We did it. Weird? Yeah, it's the Dono Ghost. It's possessed the machine. I thought we were crashing. No, that was because I unplugged my audio interface and then plugged it back in. And then for good measure, I unplugged the audio cables that go into my cloud lifter and then plugged them back in as well. So, yeah. Loose USB connection. Yeah, there's a USB hub that I use. That's just, I should get a new one. You sound great. You look great too. Thank you. All right. I'm so glad we got that fixed. I apologize for being cranky. I've been working on this shit all day. All right. Also, just want to say, Carissa Weiland, I thought when I saw the notification pop up earlier that it was just the same 10 gifted memberships, but you actually dropped an additional 10 gifted memberships over on Vertical Chat. Thank you so goddamn much. I appreciate that immensely. All right, we did it. We defeated the first boss of stream. Technical difficulties. USB-A or USB-C? USB-A. Yeah. Yeah, that USB hub is going out. It has a loose connection. I just need to get a new one. I just keep putting it off. All right. We did it. We made it through. Somehow we still have hundreds of people watching. I appreciate all of your patience. Let's get to the show, shall we? Hello. USB-B. Hell yeah. Oh my god. My microphone is dusty,
For new
too.
USB hub.
Embarrassing. Megan Fox's giant boobs. Thank you for the $10 dono for a new USB hub. I'll do my best. Dono goal. You guys are actually really close to unlocking some What If Alt Hist. But I am going to tell you guys we're not doing What If Alt Hist tonight because I meant to get started literally like an hour ago. And technical difficulties prevented us from doing that. It is now almost 1 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to be getting to What If Alt Hist if you make it to the dono goal tonight, but we will be doing it on a new day. Probably not tomorrow, because I'm going to be hosting the Transatlantic Call-In show in approximately, like 13 hours. So, let's make the amount of time we have available to us count, huh? We'll do it live, baby. It's true. Nocturnal 8999, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships as well. Very much looking forward to doing some What If Alt Hist coverage with you guys. And yes, do tune in to the Transatlantic Call-In show tomorrow. It'll be great. But let's get into the show today, shall we? Let's do it. Whew. I hope that weird guy who kept talking about Satan and how you should assume he's a rapist will call back. Yeah, I hope so too. Wait, the guy who said that I should assume he's a rapist was a different guy though. The guy who could not prove to me that he wasn't Satan. I hope he calls back. I think he's fun. Stupid as hell, but fun. Let's see here. Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. Why is... Wait, are the alerts not working? No, they are working. Weird. Saki Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. They said, more like USDD. It's true, I do have large boobs. r/actual Satan, hell yeah. Alright. And let's do this. Because believe it or not, I do want to do a show with you guys tonight. I wanted to share this with you because this was shared by Ed Zitron. And it really just goes to show how absolutely cooked the corporate world is on AI. All right. So this was Softbank investor presentation. They got in front of a bunch of people, right? And they put this together. ASI, artificial superintelligence. 1 quadrillion yen. What is SBG? 50-year life plan. 20s get acknowledged. 30s finance war chest. 40s take on a challenge. 50s complete business. 60s hand over business to next generation. It just devolves because it's all AI bullshit. All of it is AI bullshit. 50-year life plan update. Realize ASI in my 70s. Toward number 1 ASI platform provider. The real challenge begins. This is all just created with AI bullshit. Right? Some CEO threw out threw out a few prompts for an AI and it generated him a slideshow, and he unironically presented this in front of investors. Oh god. Constraint of humanity's evolution, intelligence and execution, healthcare, education, research, caregiving, cybersecurity. Softbank Group, next 30-year vision. Bring brain computer to life, 16 years ago. Coexistence with intelligent robots, 16 years ago. Realizing next 30-year vision. Artificial superintelligence, brain computer. Physical artificial superintelligence, intelligent robots. Realizing next 30-year vision. What the hell is this? So many buzzwords. This is like what you would get in the 1980s if you just left an entire brick of cocaine in the executive suite and you had 15 minutes to prepare. AI that answers, AI that acts. 1,000 agents per person, expanding human capability. For each individual, teacher, nurturing potential. This looks so dog shit. For each individual, researcher, amplifying the power to think. Engineer, amplifying the power to create. Doctor, delivering the best care. Humans will not be replaced. They will evolve through ASI. As you can see, it just gets... It gets weirder and weirder and, more bizarre. Yeah, we're gonna use robots. We're gonna use OpenAI. We're gonna use something about semiconductors. It's new intelligence. I want you all to just... Oh, look, it's Howard Lutnick. How about them apples? Jeffrey Epstein's good friend. Half convinced, half skeptical. Well, maybe this will convince you guys. Line go up. Line go up. Line go up even more. It's genuinely the stupidest bullshit gussied up to make itself look like it's smart, right? But it gets worse. It gets worse, because we haven't even made it to the goose yet. 16 years ago, equity value of holdings, Japanese yen, 5 trillion. 16 years ago, equity value of holdings, 5 trillion yen. Net debt, 2 trillion yen. Shareholder value, 3 trillion yen. But look, we're missing 2 of the golden eggs from the goose. Where could they be? Market only saw eggs. 16 years ago, 3 eggs. Market capitalization, 3 trillion yen. Shareholder value equaled 3 eggs. Goose was not valued. Goose value 0? Question mark? Oh, God. Eggs do not lay eggs. Oh. Eggs do not lay eggs, chat. Eggs do not lay eggs. Alright, do you understand me? Eggs do not lay eggs. Increase 71. There are 70, but somehow there are 71 new golden eggs. It was the goose that created value. 74 minus 3 equals 71 eggs. Goose value 71.
Trump wants to build new nuclear reactors to give data centers a boost in energy by 2030. They never said anything about powering average households.
You know, they never said anything about all these gooses either. And yet, the math adds up, chat. 74 minus 3 equals 71. Goose value is 71. Is this pro-worker? No, because the goose makes value, not the worker, silly. We know the value of gooses now, not workers. I never knew a goose was worth 71. Who knew? Who could have said? Look at all that shareholder value. Oh my God. What matters is not the eggs. It is the goose itself. True value equals the power to keep laying eggs. It's time to seize the goose of production. It's a lot easier to seize gooses than it is to seize the means. This is the biggest bank in Japan, guys. This is the presentation to investors for the biggest bank in Japan. Like, all of these CEOs just live in such rarefied air that they get high on their own farts generated by AI. It's crazy. I love CEOs finally discovering that the moral of the story of the goose that laid the golden eggs is not, in fact, kill the goose. It's to value the
AI
goose.
really winging it.
It's true. Goose equals 71. Did you guys know that? Many people don't know that, but many people are starting to say. Over the next 16 years, 1 quadrillion golden eggs? Don't... Guys, this is what I mean, though. When I talk about people who are on this AI train, they solve for goose. Like, they're sitting over there being like, we're gonna have a quadrillion dollars. Because we have a golden goose.
I'm not high enough for this.
You're not. Probably. No one is. Except for apparently CEOs around the world who have been sitting in unventilated spaces too long after eating beans. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, though, because as you can see here, the internal mechanism of the goose is actually a factory. Now, many people don't know this about gooses, but they have mechanisms inside of them that mass produce golden eggs. There are assembly lines inside of them. So all we need to do really is bisect a goose, and then the eggs will be churned out. Which in turn brings me back to my previous point, which I don't think that the CEOs actually understood the story about the golden goose, because I'm pretty sure that the story was don't try to get all of the golden eggs out of the goose. Don't ruin a good thing. But CEOs are now using AI to generate infinite eggs out of gooses. So who's laughing now? Yeah, their goal is to cut open the goose. Because why have one stupid goose when you could have a golden egg factory inside the goose? Guys, it makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense here. All right? Market capitalization equals egg value plus goose value. And as we all know, egg value is 74. But in this new equation here, goose value isn't 71, as previously proven with their mathematical formula. Instead, it's alpha. So it's not 74 plus 71, it's 74 plus alpha. Now I propose that alpha is actually the name of the goose. All right? I think that
This is just too surreal for me.
Oh god, is AI a bubble? I don't know, guys. Let's kill this goose and find out. No, guys, you don't understand. You don't understand. We need to put all of our eggs in one basket. All right? It's very important that we put all of our eggs in one basket. Line only goes up. So, yeah, here we go. New plan. Instead of relinquishing business to younger professionals, stay in the business and go all in on AI super intelligence. Happiness for everyone through ASI. End of presentation. I love this. I think it's very funny. Oh man, the global economy is so cooked right
Put all
now.
the eggs in one basket,
Like a goose.
aka a bonfire.
You know, you could also cook a boose, and the moose, and the goose on a bonfire. I just show us definitions and calculations. No, I won't do that. But I will copy and paste this link into chat so you can look at it yourself. God damn. I'm speechless. Truly all like truly everything humanity has created has brought us here. We silly guyed too close to the sun, and now we've created a technology
Look
to
at that
surpass us.
presentation and tell me the working class deserves money more than we, the smart and cool billionaires, do. You can't.
No worker could ever make a presentation like that, guys. You don't understand. The CEOs, they just work 15 million times harder than any of you. 15 million times more work went into that presentation than any one of you could do in a full day of labor, all right? Not a single one of you could make even a fragment of one of those golden gooses. There are so many levels of goose. Always has been. Finally a weapon to surpass Metal Goose. God. Anyway, everything's stupid and silly, and AI's bad. Don't use it. That's the moral of the story. Just ignore the golden
One
goose.
fish,
It's a
two fish,
con.
tech fish poo flush. Made by AI.
Speaking of poo fish, we're going to be talking about James Fishback, Fishback in a moment. So yeah, gonna be doing our thing. Anyway, if you guys liked this or just thought it was silly, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. What do you think goose equals? Untitled Goose Gains? That is an A+ idea, all right? We need to put together the world's first goose stock market game. I believe in it. I believe in this idea. Clad Dancer's right. Goose equals 71. Obviously, it was proven right in front of our eyes. Organize, folks. Get these AI data centers out of your neighborhoods, all right? Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. Together, we can kick them all out, all right? And also, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
AI and I together. We shall devour the very gods.
All right. All right. Real quick. Just because you guys did request it, let me throw it up.
What? Give me the beans! I must have these beans! Beans? Why, I say, young fellow, did you say something about beans? Magical beans? Some mystical legumes? Well, I'll give you 1,000 gold pieces for it. Magic beans!
There you go. Darkane, thank you very much for the $5 tip. This whole analogy feels like it's on the verge of becoming a steamy fiction with a furry goose forced to lay golden eggs. It does read like some incredibly niche erotica. It does. I'll give you that.
I found a goose from the presentation.
You did? Why, this goose wants me to allow ads. I'll do it. I'll do it for you, goose. It's the goose from the presentation. It is!
The other wild thing that dropped, who could have known?
Weird. That was spooky. My light turned off. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Largest study of AI hiring algorithms to date finds clear racial disparities. Over 25% of black applicants tainted by bias. Yeah, like this has always been the role of AI. I do appreciate this article, though. I'm going to incorporate it into my devastatingly large AI segment that is on its way.
6 years.
Let's exit out of some tabs here. Ooh. All right, there we go.
Why do I need to be called sis anything?
I tell women that
Amir Odom, not now. We'll get to you later. Still Pride Month. Get to you later. Missed a $5 super chat a little while ago. I don't think I did. Because I saw you say that earlier, and I looked, and did not see it. If you're referring to the one from Philip November, I did say thank you for that one. And also, yeah, like the nuclear, I addressed the nuclear energy one. Let's see. When will you be replaced with an AI anime VTuber waifu? Well, if I did have an anime VTuber waifu, it would still be me. It would still be me. All right. Also, somebody asked me earlier. Oh, you know what? I actually have the perfect place for this. I was gonna throw it in there. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. Now, I think earlier somebody asked me if there was a progressive wave happening. And yes, there is. Y'all ready to talk about the Mandani fallout? The Mandani sweep fallout? You've all heard of the Michigan Fist! But get ready to hear about the Mandani sweep, because we're going to be talking about that for a while. Oh, hell yeah. Centrist Dem Cope. You know we're going to get to that. Alright?
Good morning, Jack and all Shems. I'm
Yay!
finally returned from heart surgery and thanking every deity available for the NHS.
Mithril, glad to see you on the other side. Was worried about you. Thank you so much for the £5. And yes, thank you for the NHS when it comes through with treatment.
I would so love a collaboration between you and Demon Mama if she ever returns.
Hell yeah. Love Demon Mama. Hope Demon Mama's doing okay these days. I think, doesn't Demon Mama do a podcast about movies? With Gayfash. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, I'm gonna open this door since that wasn't the source of the echo. It's really hot in here.
Even with all the great news yesterday, my district got the worst case scenario. A Zionist who will try to embed himself like a tick and suck for decades.
Yeah. I mean, sucking is the MO of Zionist politicians. Let's see. For the record, I would love to collaborate with Demon Mama. I think we were on debate panels together like several times way back in the day. But I don't think we ever did like a direct collaboration. All right. Are you guys ready to jump into the cope? The copium? Yep. All right. Hope your tummy ache gets better, Max Danger. Didn't Demon Mama crash out years ago? I mean, yeah, but also, to be fair, like, this is a really fucking hard job sometimes. Like, being a visibly trans person on the internet talking about politics, it's difficult, all right? Yeah, the hippy dippy days on Dylan Burns debate panels, Prime Kai's
After
debate
giving it some
panels.
thought, I think Jack's VTuber would have to be some kind of gourmet catgirl with chibi ratmen and shimps on silver platters.
That sounds adorable, though. That sounds so cute. Love it. Love that for us. All right, here we go. So, folks, we need to talk about Zoran Mandani, who, in the aftermath of yesterday's primary sweep of centrist Democrats in New York, his 3 endorsed challengers all won, and we need to talk about him because he has really set himself up to be something of a kingmaker in the Democratic Party, which is, of course, causing people to lose their shit. And before we get to any of that, I thought we could take a look at Zoran Mamdani's, it's a very short speech that he gave at the Knicks championship game. And, you know, full transparency, I was late last night as I was winding down for bed after stream. I turned on Heather Cox Richardson's podcast, her show, which I know she's a liberal, but she's one of those liberals that is very flexible. She's one of those people that I think moves farther and like gels well with progressives and people further left because she understands and has a good grasp on the historical groundings of our current political moment. And so I was watching it, and she mentioned this speech that Zoran Mandani gave at the Knicks championship as something that would go down in history books. I haven't watched it yet, but I thought worth taking a look at. That's some pretty high praise. She writes contemporary histories, so her opinion on that matters quite a bit. Let's check it out.
Our NBA.
Woo!
And right now, we can once again give a warm welcome to our Mayor of New York City, Mayor Mandani.
My fellow New Yorkers, for 53 long years we have watched and we have waited. We have watched from nosebleeds and through gritted teeth, on televisions in the windows of electronic stores, and from projectors balanced on fire escapes. We have watched alone in our apartments with our heads in our hands, shoulder to shoulder at bars where the signal flickers, alongside friends and family who we wish more than anything could be here today, sharing this moment. For 53 long years, we have watched the Knicks and we have waited. We waited as the memory of Willis Reed winning the championship on one leg grew fainter and fainter. We waited as Clyde came up clutch again and again, as John Starks dunked on Jordan and Patrick Ewing dunked on the Pacers, as Bernard King scored 60, as Charles Oakley pulled every rebound within reach, as Spike got in Reggie Miller's face, as Allen Houston put up a shot against Miami that hung in the air for an eternity, as Larry Johnson gave us the 4-point play heard around New York, as Starbury traded threes with Kobe and then sold sneakers every kid could afford, as Nate Robinson stuffed Yao Ming, as the city came alive watching Linsanity, and as Melo lived every Brooklyn dreams when he came home and made MSG feel like the center of the universe once again. We waited without ever knowing if this day would come, and we waited because we knew deep down in our sick, suffering hearts that it would. New York City, this team has done it. The New York Knicks are NBA champions. We are here not just because of this team that will go down in New York City legend. I'm talking about guys like Ronaldo Balkman, Marty Collins, Raymond Felton, Marcus Camby, Kristaps Porzingis, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, and the whole Knicks tape era. I'm talking about guys like Tony Douglas, who I watched tie the single-game franchise record for threes from the stands in 2011. I'm talking about Amari, who got this whole city fired up when he joined. And I'm talking about Jared Jeffries and Lance Thomas and Langston Galloway. Players who gave everything every game, even when a 20-win season was all that was in sight.
God damn, by the time he's done with this, I'm going to be ready to run through a brick wall.
Championships aren't just built in one season. It belongs to Emmanuel Quickley, R.J. Barrett, Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, and also to a coach who helped lay the groundwork, Tom Thibodeau. Thanks to each of these New Yorkers and too many others to name, New York City has just had two of the most magical months in as long as any of us can remember. Over these past weeks, as the Knicks kept winning, our city has come together as one. Neighbors invited neighbors over. Strangers high-fived one another in the street. Subway conductors sang their announcements and bus drivers danced behind the wheel. So often when this city comes together, it is because we are forced to, by a moment of tragedy or adversity. What a gift it is to be brought together by pure, unfiltered joy. For as long as we live, we will remember this feeling of a city together, a city alive, a city overcome by happiness. But let's not pretend that this was inevitable. If you will allow me, I want to travel back in time 8 days. Game 4. 9 minutes and 33 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Knicks are down 20. The analytics guys, the sports betting companies, the pundits who watch from far away, they do what they do. They run the numbers. They calculate the odds. They write the Knicks off. They give the Spurs a 99.6% chance of winning the game. A 99.6% chance of tying up the series 2-2, of reclaiming the momentum with the next game in San Antonio. A 99.6% chance of silencing the Garden, of another year of watching and waiting. But there is one thing that the pundits just don't get about this team, that they just don't get about this city. It is in that 0.4% that we go to work. It is in that 0.4% that Jalen Brunson, the same guy that so many said was too small, proves that not only is he good enough, he is the new standard for greatness. It is in that 0.4% that OG Anunoby watches the ball float from the top of the arc and start running toward the basket, fingers reaching towards the heavens. It is in that 0.4% that Karl Anthony Towns finds the strength to mourn his mother and still pull in rebound after rebound, make block after block. It is in that 0.4% that Jose Alvarado shows every kid growing up in public housing that a son of Brooklyn and Queens can win for every one of the 5 boroughs. It is in that 0.4% that Mitch breaks his finger before game 1 and says, go get the tape. It's in that 0.4% that Josh Hart gets rebounds that break teams, that Mikal Bridges proves he was worth every single draft pick, that Landry Shamet pulls up from downtown, that every one of these 18 players transforms the franchise, that Mike Brown keeps this team believing. Most of all, it's in that 0.4% 100% that the Knicks do what New Yorkers have always done when we are told something is impossible. We find a way. We win. Standing here before what feels like the entire city, there is a Jalen Brunson quote I can't stop thinking about. I'm gonna tell you. You are allowed to think about the worst possible scenario, but you gotta go out there and do something about it. When Jalen Brunson took that pay cut, my friends, that was doing something about it. Time after time, we thought about the worst possible scenario. And time after time, the Knicks went out there and did something about it. The Knicks did not just win for New York City. They won like New York City. What is New York if not your back up against the wall? A dream that feels just out of reach. A rent payment you don't know how you'll ever make. What is New York if not 99.6% of the world stacked against you? And who are New Yorkers if not people who hear those odds and smile? Who look at a 0.4% chance of success and ask, why are you giving me a head start? This is our city. This is our team. For 53 years we watched. For 53 years we waited. Now we've won. One last time, New York, say it with me. Nixon! 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 So much.
God damn. He's so fucking good. This is what happens when you max out charisma on a character. He's just going through finessing entire cities of people. It's crazy. It's wild. And you saw how every single person in that crowd, even the players themselves, every single person present there absolutely loved that speech. Every single person there walked away from that speech believing in their hearts, yeah, we are the 0.4%. We can beat the odds. Right? And I'm not a sports person. I'm not I do not care about sports. I have no attachment to the Knicks. But after listening to that, I feel like I could, if I could run through a goddamn brick wall if that guy asked me to, you know? And I think that is a huge problem for centrist and establishment Democrats. Because the problem that they're running into here is that this guy is too good at his job. He's too good. All right? This is from just the other day. DSA dominates Albany elections despite Super PAC deluge. DSA made gains in New York despite Super PAC spending $9.6 million in state legislative races, nearly 5 times the total from 2024. And what this is, and what I want to really make clear, is that this is not limited to just the congressional
Republicans
races.
or centrist Democrats would tell us to cope and see that they had won, but can't learn why they lost.
Nope, they cannot learn it. But the problem here for them is this isn't just oh, Mandani is the kingmaker. Mandani getting a degree of validation from the public, being able to accomplish many tasks that people are like, oh, a socialist like Mandani could never do that, and then he goes and does it. That's a big problem for all these people who keep saying, oh, all the rich people are going to run away, and then suddenly they're not. They're just like, all right, I guess I'll pay more taxes. And the problem is, Mamdani's successes do transfer over into other DSA endorsements across the state. This is why DSA is making gains on the state level within New York's state legislature. And let's just take a quick look here. Despite spending $9.6 million.
Then there was this icing on the cake.
Do I already have this teed up? Yes, I do already have this teed up. It is very good. And it is, I think, very important. Right? We'll take a look at that, Sake Tanuki. Thank you for reminding me about it. But the super PACs on the state level elections spent $9.6 million opposing DSA endorsed candidates. And they did not really do very well. Nearly 5 times the amount of spent through the same period in 2024. Much of the spending was focused on defeating candidates endorsed by local DSA chapters, which fielded their biggest ever slate of candidates for state office in an effort to build on last year's election of Zoran Mandani as New York City mayor. Zoran is the catalyst. His win woke people up, said Jeff Leb, a strategist who is running a super PAC devoted to supporting moderate candidates against DSA-aligned challengers. That's not a friend of Zoran Mandani. Jeff Leb is a guy who wants to crush future Zoran Mandanis, right? And, well, it largely failed to win races. In New York City, state Senate candidate Aber Kawas and Assembly contenders Christian Celeste Tate, David Orkin, Ian Huntley, Ilapa Sari Tupac, Samantha Katan all defeated their opponents by double digits. In Buffalo, Assembly candidate Adam Bojack appears likely to become DSA's first legislature from Western New York. In Syracuse, Maurice Brown's challenge against a 28-year incumbent Assembly member was too close to call on Tuesday night. The only DSA-backed candidate to concede Tuesday was Assemblyman candidate Conrad Blackburn, who was trailing incumbent Jordan Wright. Outside groups had spent over $900,000 against Blackburn, more than against any other DSA candidate. You can actually see how much money was spent for and against these different candidates, and it is insane. Like, this is not a sustainable situation for them, right? When it comes to Blackburn's campaign, they only raised $21,656 in favor of Blackburn, and outside groups spent $912,444. But the fact that we're getting situations where a level of spending that is frankly obscene has to be sent out on just state level candidates. This is not sustainable. The failure of the big money being poured into these elections is a huge problem. And that is the other component that is happening here. An insane amount of money has been spent to try and stop Zoran Mandani's endorsed candidates, as well as the down ballot, primary winners as well. And this is only going to get worse for them as Zoran continues to do well, continues to be popular. And there are going to be problems when it comes to, other candidates outside of New York, right? I'm not a numbers girl, but I know this is a huge amount of money. Exactly, Dr. Sahiba. So, all of that being said, I think one thing that is really gratifying is that Zoran has now been in office for a bit, right? And that means he's been able to secure tangible wins for the people of New York City. He's actually gotten more popular because of that. He's filled the potholes. They had an entire, hole-filling campaign for Zoran. He managed to clear the streets of snow. Basic things, but they're tangible things. They're things that voters can actually touch and feel and see. It impacts their day-to-day lives. And that is a huge, important thing. On top of the fact that he's an excellent communicator, and has been able to tell people what the government has been doing instead of just, trying to pretend like it's self-evident. Most people don't pay attention to what politicians are doing. Most people aren't politics, perverts like you and I. All right, if you're watching this, you are probably more interested in politics than like 95% of the population. All right? And that communication from Zoran is vitally important because it communicates what the wins are. And so you take the charisma of somebody who can energize anybody, even people who do not care about New York Knicks or sports in general, and make them feel hyped up, make them feel pumped up about that. You take that kind of oratory, that kind of speech writing, and then you start putting it towards not just what are we going to do in New York, but what are we going to do when it comes to the Democratic Party. And this is what is terrifying to people like Hakeem Jeffries. All right?
Filling holes that people can touch and see is always incredibly impactful.
It's very true.
You have a God-shaped hole.
But I wanted to share with you guys another speech. And this one is from 5 days ago. This was from a Get Out the Vote rally that was put on for Zoran Mandani to basically tell people, hey, you need to go out and vote for my good friend Brad Lander and Claire. I'm blanking on her name right now. That's embarrassing. And Adeliza Chevalier, right? Those three. Claire Valdez. Nailed it. And, well, I think you guys are going to want to see this one. All right? Let's take a look here. Get a higher quality.
Thank you, Brooklyn! Thank you, King's Theater! Thank you to an incredible slate of candidates. And thank you to all of you for making it here when you could easily still be in the streets celebrating. So first of all, and say it with me as loudly as you can, Knicks in! Knicks in! Knicks in! As I look out on this crowd, I see many of the same faces from our rallies last May and June. The same faces I saw as I spoke on a steaming June evening and a freezing November night. And I know that there are some who may ask, is that election not over? It may be, but our work has never been about any one person, any one office, or any one election. Our work has been about one movement. A movement to turn the page on the politics of big money and small ideas. A movement to usher in a new era for our city. A movement to make government work for every single New Yorker, not just the wealthy and the well-connected. I stand here.
Imagine getting crowds of socialists to chant Nixon 5. Incredible.
That's right. The socialists will be the ones to bring back not just Nixon 1, but 2, 3, 4, and 5. Many people don't know, but if you assemble all 5 Nixons, you can warp reality itself. It's very powerful.
Today, fulfilling the promise I made to you in the days when we were polling at 1%. The days where our closest competitor was other. We don't hear about him much anymore. The promise was that I would use every tool at my disposal to stand up to corporate greed and bad landlords. to protect our immigrant neighbors, to deliver a city where New Yorkers could afford to do more than struggle, a city where dreams are no longer fantasies of today, but glimpses of tomorrow. And the truth, my friends, is that I cannot do it alone. The reason I stand here alongside this incredible slate is that if we want to build a movement that endures,
Don't forget Mojo Nixon.
if we want to build a movement that wins,
will need some fixing.
we need leaders across our city
I'm gonna
who are
disable
willing to
alerts
fight
now.
with everything they have for working people. We need Claire Valdez, Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, and Brad Lander fighting for us in Congress. We need Abir Kawas, Eli Northrop, Iyapa Syra Tupac, Samantha Catan, and Brian Romero fighting for us in Albany. And if we want this movement to win, we need you to show up the way you showed up for me. To knock as many doors as you can, even when it's raining, even when it's hot, even when it's hard, even when the Knicks just brought an end to a 53-year wait. Because that's what we have, and that's what our opponents don't. That extra door, that extra text, that extra bit of effort, that second door knock after 15 seconds of not hearing anything. You know what I'm talking about. Fighting the urge to mark not home in van. Don't do it. Don't do it. Knock again. Because I know that even though you're tired, even though you've given so much, even though it's frankly unfair to ask you for more, I know that you have it in you. I know it only because I'm reminded every single day when I walk the streets of our city, when I see New Yorkers going to work at every hour and still finding time to dream in that same hour that tomorrow could be more than today. Because if anyone can sustain this movement, if anyone can win these elections, if anyone can shock this country, it is you. You have done it before, and on Tuesday, we will do it again.
Okay, but I'm seeing people in chat saying, where is our Mandani? Send Mandani to us. No, guys. You're already on the wrong track. You guys need to make your own Mandani. Okay? I guarantee you, there are people like this all across the country. There are people who give a shit. There are people who want to make things better. But, like, we all got to start showing up as much as we possibly can. And, like, that's the magic of Zoran Mandani. Anybody can be him. He's like Batman. Right? Like, we can do this shit. It's possible. Also, those people may not be as charismatic as he is. You gotta help him out. True.
And we need that because, as Gramsci once wrote, the old world is dying and the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. These monsters take many forms today. In those who fund television ads that blanket the airwaves with misleading and bad faith attacks about Claire, Brad, and Dari. Those who would rather spend far more on political contributions than they would ever be made to pay in taxes. In AIPAC, for whom the only thing more frightening than democracy being allowed to run its course is an end to genocide and Netanyahu's wars. They move millions in dark money to accomplish a single goal: to preserve their power so that they can turn us against one another, instead of our leaders turning towards the moral change we all know to be necessary. In a politics that for too long has asked working people to lower their expectations, to settle for less, to become satisfied with small victories while our wages grow even smaller and our costs grow even larger. To resign ourselves to resignation, to accept the unacceptable. In the wealthiest city, in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we need not live in fear of monsters any longer. If a new world is truly to be born, then where else should it be born than right here in New York?
Yeah, baby!
Where else should that new world be born than in the city the entire world seeks to emulate? On June 23rd, we will win that new world together. The outcome of these elections will reverberate around our city and around our country. And it will send a very clear message. When we win, we will make it clear that our movement is more powerful than their money. When we win, we will make it clear that we understand the urgency of this moment and refuse to delay change for yet another year, for yet another cycle, for yet another generation. And when we win these elections on June 23rd, let it be heard by every member of Congress who believes incumbency is a substitute for action. Let it be heard by every oligarch who thinks that greed can go unchecked, that politicians can be bought, that this city and this country have a price. Let it be heard by every pundit who sees a Muslim last name and tells that candidate to prepare a concession speech. Let it ring in courtrooms that mistake the Voting Rights Act as a suggestion, not the law of the land. And in fact, let it roar in every state where politicians think they can redraw the lines so that black Americans no longer have a say.
Y'all, there's a reason. There's a reason why people like Hakeem Jeffries, who do view incumbency as like the ultimate shield. There's a reason why people like James Carville, who has traditionally calculated that money matters more than people power. Like, it scares them to their core because this is something they cannot control. Working people standing up and finding a voice in order to advocate for themselves and their fellow workers, oh boy, that is scary as hell. Because part of the neoliberal project has always been born out of a contempt for democracy, right? It has been this desire to commodify it, this desire to control it. Because once you control it, you don't need to worry about pesky things like, you know, people having diverse opinions about how they'd like to be treated in the workplace or how much they would like to be compensated for their labor. You know, instead, you can just accept a boatload of cash from an oligarch, and then you don't have to worry about it. It makes it a lot easier for you to do your job of selling off chunks of the country to the wealthiest people to ever exist. And this is the scary part for the Hakeem Jeffries, the James Carvilles, the Chuck Schumers, etc. Because for too long, they've been relying on that big donor money. For too long, they've been relying on the fact that people know their names and not the names of the people who would challenge them. And frankly, what we're seeing here is someone like Zoran Mandani and an organization like the New York City DSA being able to effectively communicate and get the word out about these candidates in a way that people respond to, right? Because people might not know who's running to be their local assemblyman in New York, but they do know Zoran Mandani. And in a similar way that can work in New York, that can work in a lot of other places too. And they know that. They know that there's nothing unique about New York. And now they know there's nothing unique about Zoran Mandani other than his great oratory skill. And that presents an existential crisis. So they're freaking the hell out. And I love it. We'll get to the freakouts after this speech, but like this speech in particular, somehow it had flown under my radar completely. I did not see people talking about it. And I feel like everyone should see this because this is drawing the battle line going forward. This is setting into motion and specifically saying, we're going to come for you guys. This doesn't just stop in New York or New York City. This is going to grow. And we're going to work towards that future. And we're not going to stop.
Last year, New Yorkers were asked to make a choice. And many were told that it was a choice between a government that could answer the challenges of today and one that could imagine a better tomorrow. They were told it was a choice between a government that clears the streets of snow and one that would hold corporate abusers to account. After all, they told us, surely government couldn't both fill potholes and provide universal child care. Surely government couldn't both dare to deliver and dare to dream. My friends, if these past 6 months have proved anything, it is that these are false choices. Government can achieve so much more than those who seek to discourage and demoralize that they are willing to admit. Government can fix crumbling streets, bring people together, and transform our city. And those who tell us otherwise are driven by a four-letter word: fear. Fear that maybe things will change. Fear that maybe power will no longer be restricted to backrooms and boardrooms, but extended to the working people being priced out of this city. Now, this is a moment of more, of asking for more, of expecting more, of delivering more. We won't answer to those who insist we settle for less any longer. Now, people often ask me what I think of the state of the Democratic Party. This slate here today is our answer. The Democratic Party must change.
Like, he comes out and he just says it. He comes out and he just says it, chat. For so long, I've been used to political figures talking around issues. You know, talking about things in a sideways manner, not making promises, not saying anything concrete that might possibly come back to bite them in the future. And we just have this guy, an elected socialist in charge of a city of millions, standing up and telling people in just a simple get out the vote speech, Democratic Party, we're coming for you.
They tend to follow that question with another.
So cool.
Who do you want to run in 2028? Then they ask, when does the race for 2028 begin? It starts now. It starts on Tuesday. It starts when we reject a politics that believes in polls more than principles. It starts when we realize that politics, one that waits for political convenience, will never feel the urgency to address the people's inconvenience. Because at the heart of all of these questions that are being asked is who we are and what we are fighting for. These campaigns, these candidates, they answer that question in the way that we must. Because for far too long, our party has seen its job as managing decline instead of delivering material change for working people. It has seen its job as explaining why we cannot instead of showing how we can. And that old way of thinking will lose on Tuesday. And frankly, it will lose in South Carolina and New Hampshire. It will fall short of 270 electoral votes. Because the party of the past will not be what leads us into the future. For we...
God, the way he's just like, he just like throws establishment Democrats under the bus here, as they deserve. It's incredible to see. For way too long, people in positions of power have refused to point out the very obvious shortcomings of the Democratic Party. You know, you see them talk about it in euphemism, you see them talk about it in a roundabout fashion, and then they try and do this game where they then, you know, they talk around the central issue and then they spin off. It's like a gravity assist launch in space. They go around the issue and then they go off in a completely different direction. Oh no, people, Kamala Harris didn't do anything wrong. It's just that people want to hear about affordability now. Affordability. She talked too much about trans people. But they don't talk about the central issue that sunk her campaign, which is that being cowardly and avoiding issues like trans rights actually is what does the damage. The damage isn't done by supporting trans rights. The damage is done by not supporting trans rights. In a similar way, the damage when, oh, she didn't talk enough about affordability. No, she talked about affordability. But the problem was her policies were given to her by Uber executives. The real problem was, all these leftists didn't turn out and vote for her. It was Hassan. Hassan killed her campaign. And it's just like, no. Politically engaged people on the left showed the fuck up. The problem is, she was not able to mobilize people because she was not offering anything fundamentally different than what Biden offered, and that wasn't working. People knew it wasn't working. People told her it wasn't working. But for whatever reason, she felt shackled to an old campaign run by an old man. And frankly, that is a self-own. Wouldn't do anything differently. Man, that's the problem with the Democratic Party in a nutshell. We don't want to do anything differently. Well, I think Zoran Mandani is standing up and pointing out the very obvious thing, which is we need to do things differently. And that differently involves not taking that corporate money, not compromising our actual values or the rights of our constituents in order to try and make a quick buck from donors. No, it means being steadfast in our principles and actually fighting and actually winning. And now he's here, knocking on their gates and saying, "Hey, y'all in Jericho, I got a trumpet. I'm gonna blow it if you guys don't change." And this thing is going to boil down to the fact that a lot of these centrist establishment Democrats are going to wall themselves up. They're going to try and crush anyone who comes up against them. And the problem is here, that's not going to help them. It's just going to end their political career.
We need a Democratic Party with backbone. A Democratic Party that offers an affirmative agenda without apology.
Hell yeah. For the record, I did not pre-watch.
A Democratic Party that is not just willing to stand up, but also to stand for something. And a Democratic Party that has the ambition to enact a vision worthy of the people it seeks to represent. Affordability is not magic. It is not something that can be summoned by words. It must be summoned by deeds. We must stand up to corporate greed, build affordable housing, make childcare something every family can afford.
I summon affordability in a tech position.
And as we speak, there are those hoping to divide up the working people of this city, to convince us that the problems we face are not a result of their greed, but instead that of our neighbors. They will do whatever it takes to maintain a broken status quo that benefits the privileged few at the expense of the many. And they think that there is no one who will try to stop them. They're wrong. This slate will. And this slate will not just try. This slate will succeed.
Hell yeah.
Because this slate knows the difference between a party that defends the status quo and the party fighting to transform the status quo. And I want to be honest with all of you. If you want politicians who spend their time telling you about all the things that cannot be done, my friends, you are at the wrong rally. By all means, vote for the other guys. But if you want leaders who wake up every day asking how much more can be done for the working person, then knock doors, make calls, text your friends, bring your neighbors to the polls, and vote.
Join your local Dems, join your local DSA. And if you need help doing that, we can help you. Join our Discord, !Discord in any of the chats. There's also a link down below in the description. And reach out to Dragonfly for help joining your local Dems. Reach out to GamerG for help joining your local DSA. We got people here. We got skills here. We want to help you.
So in that spirit, the resurgence of the real left is the voters asking, if you stand for nothing Dems, what will you fall for?
Exactly. No, it's exactly that. We are in revolutionary times. You know, I've talked at length about how we're in the cool zone. A time of increased possibility. And that has brought with it a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of negative things, a lot of bad things. But it also means that good things are possible, that we can organize and win. We can, in fact, topple this entire rotten system and build something better from the ashes. Like, it is something that we can do. We just have to put our effort towards organizing with one another and building the power we have, which is people power. Not a single wheel turns in this goddamn country without us workers turning those wheels. All right?
Is it worth joining the DSA if I have to deal with a Hillary clone and Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
Is Debbie Wasserman Schultz in DSA? That would shock me if that's the case. But yes, it's worth joining your DSA and it's worth joining your local Dems. Because number one, by joining your local Dems, you can make sure your local Democratic group doesn't continue to get co-opted and taken over by donor money. And it's worth joining your DSA because you can more effectively organize power against people like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Unless you're saying that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is someone you'd have to fight against, but like that's the point. The point is organizing so you can defeat someone like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, so that you can run a challenger against her, so that you can actually get somebody cool elected who actually gives a shit, you know? The goal is when we get involved on the local level, we get to pick and choose our battles. We get to actually have a say in the internal party process about who gets picked for what. And that has a huge, huge slate of ramifications on the local level, and then as more of us get involved on the state level and on the national level. Right? But folks, join your local Dems and join your local DSA. If you don't know where to start, again, join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for help with joining your Dems, reach out to GamerG for help joining your local DSA. Both of them can help you navigate and better advocate within those organizations, by the way. They have years of experience doing just that. And if you don't want to join the Discord, you can usually find one or both of them over on riverboat.gg in this chat here on screen. So, do the shit, chat.
And when you are at those polls, when you are in that booth, and it's just you and your ballot and that incredible pen from the Board of Elections, it is a sacred moment. It is you alone with democracy. And it is then that every New Yorker answers a question. What the other side wants that question to be is, which of your neighbors are you most willing to sell out? What the other side wants that question to be is, which leaders of today are you willing to delay until tomorrow? They asked that the tenant of 40 years vote against the tenant of 1 year. That the divide is between those who have gone through decades of political transformation and those who have joined our movement as soon as they were of voting age. They ask questions that sustain power for those who have it under the guise of rewarding those who struggle under it. I do not believe that is the question you must in fact answer in that booth. In the city I know, in the city I love, the question is not, when did you arrive? The question is, can you afford to stay?
Hell yeah. Heard about some DSA wins. Is it true? Absolutely true. New York the other day sent like 8 or so new candidates to the state assembly, and also sent 3 new members of Congress. Well, set up 3 new members of Congress for the general. Basically, if you win the primary in the Democratic Party in New York's congressional districts, you have basically guaranteed yourself a spot in Congress. So, yep. Is the popular will finally finding an outlet? You bet your bootstraps.
And yet, amidst the greed that drives some of this cost of living crisis, we have something that crisis does not. Something far stronger. We have a love of our neighbors that can be heard in bodegas and $9 coffee shops alike. A love that is not driven by age or race or status, by a working class solidarity and a fundamental understanding that only together can we win that which we deserve. Only together can we win housing that's affordable, wages that recognize our worth, and a government in which there is no task too big and no job too small. Whether you are a tenant who has been here for 4 months or 40 years, we have so much more in common with one another than we do with those attacking Claire, Daria Lisa, and Brad. Whether you arrived at JFK, at Port Authority, or your great-grandparents came through Ellis Island, we have so much more in common with one another than those who seek to demonize new arrivals, whether from Kansas or Kinshasa, and divide us. And whether you worship at shul, at a mosque, in a church, a gurdwara, a temple, or you don't worship at all, we share a belief that our city deserves leaders who lead with hope and not fear. Because no matter where we live, how old we are, what train we take in the morning, or what bagel we order, we are New Yorkers and we want the same things. Housing that we can afford. Childcare that is universal. Buses that are fast and free.
Hell yeah.
Medicare for all. Time with the people we love. A city that belongs to all of us. And that's exactly why we need to elect Brad Lander, whose love for his neighbors is only matched by the fight he will bring to Congress. Brad had my back when I needed him most. Had this city's back when Elon Musk tried to rob it of tens of millions of dollars. And he put his own back on the line to protect immigrants who were wrongfully detained by ICE.
Let's go.
That's why we need to elect Assemblymember Claire Valdez.
Hell yeah.
A former UAW organizer and proud Democratic socialist who is running for Congress to make sure working people in New York and across this country have a seat at the bargaining table. Now, when other Democrats chose to look the other way, as Netanyahu committed war crimes, Claire didn't just name the genocide, she organized for a ceasefire. When ICE abducted our neighbors, Claire was arrested protesting them. Wherever there have been struggles in our city for dignity and justice, my friends, say it with me, Claire was there. No one will work harder than Claire.
Can I just say, the political acumen it takes to come up with Claire was there and like these catchy political slogans, like, I don't know who's doing it behind the scenes for the Mandani campaign, but they are on fire. They are on fire. I love it.
To take power from those who abuse it and put it in the hands of those who deserve it. And that, my friends, is why we need to elect Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier.
Let's go!
The daughter of a single mother from a working-class Dominican family. Since she was a teenager, Dottie has organized her community and reunited families illegally separated by ICE. That includes her classmate Mahmoud Khalil, whose pregnant wife Noor's cries for help were ignored by so many, but not by Dari. Because Dari is exactly who the people of the Bronx and Upper Manhattan deserve representing them in Congress. New York, I hope you'll forgive me, but I have the Knicks on my mind. And it's not just that every time I watch the Knicks with Dari or with Claire, they won. It's also to say that with just 5 days left until Election Day, and 30 seconds left on the metaphorical clock, I will leave you with this quote from Captain Clutch himself, Jalen Brunson. You are allowed to think about the worst possible scenario, but you got to go out there and do something about it.
Hell yeah.
So, my friends, I must ask you, what are you going to do? How many friends will you text right now? How many doors will you knock? How many neighbors will you bring along? Because I hate to break it to you, but OG Anunoby is not here to save the day. The only hands we can count on are ours. But this is our team. This is our year. So let's go after it and get it.
Guys, I saw some people in chat saying that, like, oh, they wish he could run for president. I don't say this lightly. If he did want to do that, I have no doubt that in 12, 16 years, this guy will have an amount of political capital able to actually overturn the requirement of being born in the United States. And you know what? I think if that was the question at hand, a lot of people absolutely would vote in favor of that. Right? Also, Anime Sidekick Gal, thank you so much for the 20 gifted memberships. My god, YouTube killing it. Like, we just watched multiple speeches by this guy. And it is not for nothing that when we look at how the establishment has been reacting, not just to the fact that he's making these speeches, but to the fact that he is then succeeding in getting socialists elected, in getting DSA endorsed candidates elected, in getting progressive challengers elected. Like, we're now in a world where they are openly terrified. Openly terrified. Like, I want to share with this with you guys. This is from Jamie Harrison, right? Jamie Harrison was the head of the DNC. He's the former head of the DNC. And he says on June 23rd, 6:58 p.m., as the results in New York are filtering in, I say this with no ill will or animosity. If you hate the Democratic Party, then please don't run for our nomination. Don't use our resources. Don't rely on our volunteers. Don't use our infrastructure. Don't ask Democrats to invest their time, money, and energy in your campaign. That is what is called being a salty little bitch. He's just upset that a bunch of people just unseated incumbents, right? And that's exactly the kind of energy we should have, Two Dead Smooch. And fuck you, get the fuck out of our party. It's ours. We are taking it over. We are taking it over, and we are going to bring it all back to a time when these parties, they worked for working people. Right? And like, the last person on earth who should be talking about the Democratic Party like he owns it is Jamie Harrison, a guy who worked as a lobbyist for years. That's actually how he got his start in politics. Dude worked as a lobbyist for the Podesta Group. He represented oil companies. He represented major corporate interests that have since bought and paid for many of the members of the Democratic Party in Congress. It is infuriating to even see him say, "Get out of our party. Don't use our resources." Bitch, you've been using our resources for years. You were happy to trade them away for massive donations. And what has that got us? It's made the people who voted for Democrats poorer. It's made the people who put their trust in Democrats betrayed. It has been something that has, over time, demolished the American faith in our political system. And it's time we take that back, right? But, of course, Jamie Harrison is not the only person who recognizes the current dynamic at play here. And I will read dono messages when we finish this. We gotta get through it. I apologize to those who aren't getting their messages read, but we gotta get through this. Here is a clip from the DSA watch party the other night as victories happened.
You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next! Some other common process before they could commit.
That's right. That is a crowd of DSA door knockers, phone bankers, highly motivated political folks looking at Hakeem Jeffries and chanting, "You're next. You're next. You're next." Because they are coming for all the incumbents. They're coming for all the incumbents, baby. And I just want to point out here. Yeah, here we go. I want to point out here that this has, of course, made a lot of people really scared. Right? Here we have... Here we go. Yes. Sorry, got my tabs a little bit mixed up. Here we go. We also gotta mention Hakeem Jeffries got that message loud and clear. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says New York City Mayor Zoran Mandani is going to have to smooth things over with congressional Democrats after backing several progressive candidates who ousted incumbents during Tuesday's primary elections. Asked if Mamdani's endorsements were making him enemies with Democrats in Washington, D.C., Jeffries told CNN that he and Mamdani strongly disagreed over his primary picks ahead of Election Day. Now, according to Jeffries, the mayor has serious work to do in terms of the conversations that he's going to have with members of Congress moving forward. What's really interesting to me is that why would he need to do that? He's mayor of New York City. He's not going to Washington D.C. all that often. Like, I'm sorry if centrist establishment Dems are are salty about it, but to be completely honest with you guys, he has nothing to explain. He has nothing to smooth over. He played politics and he won, right? And the main problem here is that Hakeem Jeffries wants to threaten Zoran, but he can't do it directly because, you know, that's how Democrats do. They talk around issues rather than talking about the issue itself. A lot of these establishment types. So instead, Hakeem Jeffries is like, well, we disagreed quite a lot, and he's going to have to make some apologies. As if Zoran Mandani kowtows to the Democratic members of Congress. The truth is, they're afraid of him because they're seeing him succeed in in New York City. And they know that with that kind of support, he can very easily make the leap, not just to like the House, but to the Senate. He could make the leap to much higher levels of American political power. And they are terrified that instead of doing that, he seems to be building something far scarier, which is a sustainable movement that threatens the very base of establishment Democratic power. Right? That is a huge problem, especially because Hakeem Jeffries has been assuming that he is in a safe Democratic district for so long. He has been assuming that he is safe as the minority, the House Minority Leader. He has been assuming that he is safe as the inheritor of Nancy Pelosi's vestiges of power. He's been assuming that he's safe for the longest time. And suddenly, for the first time here, he's having to reckon with the possibility that he might actually have some work cut out for him in order to keep his seat. And that is a big problem. When you are a threat not just to, you know, Democrats that are establishment and centrist or neoliberal and conservative Democrats, but you're a threat to the most powerful Democrat in the House? Uh-oh. 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 That's a problem. But it's not just Hakeem Jeffries. We also got to take a look here at James Carville having an absolute meltdown. Now, for those of you who don't know, James Carville is a longtime consultant for the Democratic Party, and he is, well, I would not describe him as particularly savvy. But he does seem to have the ears of a lot of establishment Democrats. And you know, let's just take a quick look here at this particular portion of this particular episode of Politicon's Politics War Room. It's so cringy, but that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, the New York Times reported, and I have the quote right here, I'll get to it. She is against, passed off all her views. She has attacked interracial relationships in the American flag. Lady, I ain't in the same party as you. I'm sorry. I just not. And I actually do think it's time for Democrats to talk the S word, schism. I really do. Everybody's always said, no, we're coalition, we're big tent. And there's just some shit that I can't be in the same tent with. And we talk about what Mandani was 3 for 3 last night in Manhattan. They call it the Commie Corridor. Fine. Jason Crow's service pack, vote bets, 10 for 11.
By the way, I love just these ancient political ghouls coming out and being like, they call those seats the Commie Corridor. Yeah, that's what they call them. Yeah. Hey, just real quick. Were the incumbents that got ousted by Mamdani's picks, were they all of them in the Commie Corridor? Were they all communists? Is that why you're so salty? The socialists came in and ousted the communists? Oh no, they were all very much standard do-nothing Dems? Oh, that's crazy. That's wild. The cope is insane.
You wouldn't know Jason Crow exists. Okay,
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know Abel Sandberg exists. You wouldn't know. In I want to be very specific. I understand the free press for being here because if they nominated David Duke or something like that, we'd be the same way. I understand all that. To the extent I understand the Times, because they are the New York Times, so they have to cover. They are the hometown newspaper. But the idea that we must neglect everything else that's going on, all of these other primaries, all the recruits Jason has, all huge, phenomenal successes we've had, and declare that the party is now under the control of the Democratic Socialists of New York City is insane. But and understand, these people do not like Democrats. Not only are they not...
The thing is, the problem is he's not wrong about the fact that, well, the party isn't under the control. I say the party is not under the control of the Democratic Socialists of New York City. And of course not. Of course the Democratic Party is not under the control of Zoran Mandani. The problem is that what has just crystallized and taken shape is a direct dagger to the heart of neoliberalism in American politics. The dagger to the heart of the do-nothing Democrats that have for so long sold us to the highest bidder. Right? That has crystallized. And suddenly, a lot of members of the mainstream media are like, oh, wait a minute, a worker power movement, that is a threat to a lot of these incumbent Democrats. And that's what they're realizing. They're realizing Zoran Mandani has accumulated enough political capital to pick and choose who succeeds in politics off of being a socialist in elected office. That is a big deal. That is a big, profound threat. And what James Carville is complaining about here is he's like, they're acting like I say they are acting like they've already elected Zoran Mandani as president. That's not what anyone's saying. Yeah, no, James Carville is basically the skeletal version of Foghorn Leghorn. It's true. It's true.
Democrats, they wish Democrats poorly. So
I like how he's just ignoring the voters. Always has.
I just cannot. Maybe there's a way that you can say to, I guess Mandani is the leader of it, is, you insist that, try to insist that the people that run under your banner run as a Democratic Socialist and don't use the Democratic Party as your guideline, and let's negotiate the terms of a schism here. Maybe we can part under some kind of advantageous terms for both of us. But
Man, I love this idea where he's like, no, actually, what if we negotiated? And you have your party and we have our party, and somehow it comes out well for both of us. I do declare. And it's just like, one, that would not work for Democrats. Two, the DSA has never set itself up to function as an independent party. The purpose of the DSA is to supplement and to add additional resources to the Democratic Party and to run candidates that DSA endorses within the Democratic Party. Like, this is like what has been set up by different socialist groups across the country is the infrastructure to add people power to campaigns that aren't getting, the multi-million-dollar super PAC monies. And the second that Democratic Socialists in the DSA start winning elections and their candidates start climbing those power levels, suddenly James Carville comes out of the closet like a specter, be like, oh, don't let them run in the party. They're too powerful. People like them too much. But that's a huge problem too, right? Because James Carville is thinking about this, about how do we maintain the neoliberal establishment? How do we maintain the current status quo that is not working for many people? Right? And the problem is, it's not working for many people. And the other problem is, because it's not working for a lot of people, turns out establishment Dems desperately want to be associated with popular figures. And those popular figures in politics, unfortunately for Democrats in the establishment, are the ones who are coming up on explicitly socialist and progressive policy platforms. And that, like, it's a real catch-22 for the Democratic Party, and that is why James Carville is short-circuiting here in real time,
I'm done. I'm not in that fucking political party. I am totally comfortable in a political party that spends time questioning the policies of the government of Israel. In fact, I'm enthusiastic about it.
Dude, go join the Republican Party. We don't want you here. Get the fuck out. You've given terrible advice for like 30 years.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a political party that denies the right of the state of Israel to exist. That's just not. I just can't do that. I'm sorry.
Nobody's doing that. Like, oh man, this fucking question keeps coming up. Well, do you think Israel has the right to exist? That's not how nation states work. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the idea that people put forward, oh, well, what if the Mongol horde was coming towards you? You send out your nation's greatest philosopher to argue, and that philosopher goes out there and says, Mr. Khan, have you considered that we have the right to exist intrinsically? And then what does Genghis Khan do? He just kills that guy and then continues and like destroys the country, right? Like, this idea that the existence of nations is predicated on like these philosophical platitudes of like, oh, well, they have a right to exist. Like, no nation state has a right to exist. They either do exist or they don't exist. And whether or not they exist is determined by the power that country has to perpetuate itself, right? And that is usually done militarily, though you can find examples of that being done economically or diplomatically. You can find examples of it in many different forms. But nowhere is there a nation where it's just like, well, philosophically, we agree with your argument, and that's why you can exist. Like, ultimately, by the way, I don't think nation states should exist, but I think the process of unmaking the nation state system would probably take us, probably a few thousand years. I think it's a long-term goal, all right? But this inherent need to perpetuate itself by force of arms in particularly is, deeply problematic to the continuance of, people grilling and chilling. I do got that ANCOM in me, but I just, I want to identify as a political label that I can advocate. Here's how we get from point A to point B. I don't know how we get from point B to point C or from point C to point D. I don't know how to do that, so I call myself a socialist because I can plot out a course to get us there, But all that being said, let's get back to this.
Sorry,
This
it's
is
just
glorious.
not doable. They are a great gift to Donald Trump. And unless other Democrats stand up, certainly people like Obama, but also some of the younger
I'm sure that there are people who disagree with me about nation states. I just view the disagreement as largely immaterial because I'm not going to live to see the day where we're deciding, should we have nation states? Should we not have them? I just don't, like, I'm not going to live to see that. I don't expect that kind of change in my lifetime. I'll settle for getting, the economy in the hands of the working class and Medicare for all.
Democrats and said, this is not us. And the second point, I think, James, is it is absolutely crucial now that the Democrats don't just win in November in the House, pick up 8 or 10 seats, because that group of crazies will absolutely just sabotage Hakeem Jeffries every step of the way. They got to pick up 25 seats.
Yeah, because if it weren't for those 10 crazies in Congress, everyone would like Hakeem Jeffries. If it weren't for a couple of plucky socialists out of New York, everyone would love Hakeem Jeffries and his really great platform of anyway.
And I think what worries me about this group, James, look, you had the squad. AOC, I don't agree with much of what AOC stands for or votes for, but she's smart. And she caused trouble in the beginning. Pelosi made clear that wouldn't work. And she's ended up actually a pretty good member. I don't think this group has that potential.
I don't either. And I think AOC is smart. I could be in the same party with her. Anyways, I can't be in the same.
I love this idea that, like, AOC, well, she's one of the good ones, and it's just like, I gotta be honest with you. This is why I think AOC is playing a great political game, because she has built up enough political capital where even these ancient ghosts haunting the Democratic Party are like, well, I do declare, I say AOC. Ho ho, AOC. Ha ha. She's all right. And then they just move on, right? Like, they're willing to put up with AOC because she has played a political long game, and I think that she's preparing to cash in that capital. She's preparing to cash it in on a presidential run, and I think she might be able to win because even guys like this are like, I can stand her. You know? It's crazy.
Same party with Miss Chevalier. Can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not there.
She's a hater. And James, here's what's interesting.
These guys calling anybody a hater as they grouse about and are the worst losers on the face of the planet.
Why don't the Republicans get labeled as the party of Clay Higgins and all of his racist comments, or the party of Andy Ogles, who said all Muslims ought to be deported and gay people have no right in America? But they're kind of considered sort of fringe, and obviously Donald Trump is.
This may be an opportunity for Democrats to say, "Look, we stood up to what we thought was an extremist element in our coalition. You never stand up to what you think is an extremist element in our coalition."
Yeah,
I really think there's a lot of advantage in that. Yes, we don't want people in our coalition that are against interracial marriage. We don't want people in our coalition that are against the American flag. No way. But you allow people in your coalition. In fact, you embrace people in your coalition who are like Clay Higgins or Andy Ogles, who embrace this kind of nonsense. I think there is a political advantage to Democrats saying, "Hey, go your own way. We're not going to try to keep you. Just take off."
Well, I'm still going to celebrate Kate Conley, though. That's a great victory up there. But, going to the point you made earlier, when Mandani won in 25, he's a very, very impressive politician. I don't agree with him much, but he is a very impressive and I think articulate and charismatic politician. But he wins in New York City, and Spanberger and Sherrill win in New Jersey and Virginia. Much more important, much bigger, more important for national politics. Mandani got 3 times the press coverage that they got. And at some point, someone's going to have a reckoning with the media. Sure, you got to cover these people.
They can't help themselves.
Yes, the classic solution to up-and-coming popular figures in politics. Just tell the media not to cover them. Obviously. You buy the media and tell them, don't you cover these inconvenient political actors. It's like genuinely what you're seeing here in real time is the phenomenon of why like conservative liberals and neoliberals wind up going towards fascists, right? It's because they're like, well, I can't stand these uncouth leftists. And it's just like, well, I can't even be in the same party as them. So obviously the solution is to control the media to prevent any up-and-coming challengers. It's not to make better arguments. It's not to be, a party that actually embraces policies that help working-class people. No. It's to control the flow of free speech and to crack down on the media actually covering politically inconvenient figures. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I got to do these interviews. I did an interview for a huge group and was being interviewed. So all I wanted to talk about was Mandani. It was like it was the only issue. And this was a big-time journalist. They're just hopelessly addicted to this story while the other story underneath him. But today I looked on it. The Chinese communists have now building better supercomputers than us. And we're fucking around with the algae in the reflecting pool. All right. They just cashiered General Chris Donahue, might be one of the most greatest soldiers of the United States Army of this century. They just ran his ass off. All right. All of that. We got $40 trillion in debt. We have no idea of what the fuck we're doing in Iran, how to get out of there, what to do about it, or anything else. And then all I'm reading about is the Democratic Socialists. And okay, and I'm never going to be able to stop that. I can do all the rants I want. I can go on TV. I can do videos. You and I can talk about it ad nauseum. You're trying to get people off of crack cocaine. It just can't be done.
James, let me
just can't get done. That's right. All these working class people addicted to pro working class policy like crack cocaine. I do declare. That sweet DSA crack rock. I can't. The crash out from these people is delicious. It's delicious. And also, it's continuing. It's not just consultants who are out of touch in the Democratic Party. Letitia James blamed Zoran Mandani for blowing up the Democratic Party. Some of the candidates that he has supported are individuals who do not understand the politics of New York City, the cultural differences from district to district, who have not been part of the history and the struggle of some of these districts, and are relatively new to the body politic. The New York Attorney General said some of the Mamdani-backed candidates don't understand the issues of race and class, per the outlet. James said other political colleagues have expressed that they are disappointed in Mamdani's push to change the party. All of us are a little frustrated with the Democratic Party, but you don't blow it up. That's what MAGA has done, James told CNN. What's funny to me, right, is that very clearly what I think is happening is that Hakeem Jeffries does not feel safe to directly criticize Zoran Mandani. Even in that earlier article, right, it quotes him as saying, well, other people are mad at Zoran Mandani. Not me, though. He has to smooth things over with other people, right? And what's interesting is, even in this article for The Hill, it quotes Hakeem Jeffries as saying, no, Donald Trump has a working relationship with the mayor of the city of New York, and he's made that publicly and explicitly clear to America, not once but twice in the Oval Office. And yeah, he brushed aside concerns tied to the Democratic Socialist mayor. What I think is happening is Hakeem Jeffries is getting other people to try and pick fights with Zoran. I think that's what's happening here. I think that's what's happening with Letitia James. And I don't think, of course, it's going to work. The idea that Zoran Mandani has blown up the Democratic Party. Bitch, the party's still there. But you know what? It's really easy for you guys to make establishment Democrats cry like this all across the country. All it takes is you guys getting involved in your local political ecosystem. Join your local Dems. Join your local DSA. If you need help, we can help you do that. Join our Discord. Reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. Reach out to GamerG for help with your local DSA. Getting involved in organizing works. We see it working in New York City. We see it working in New York State. We're seeing it work in Congress. And that can be your congressional representative. That can be your senator. That can be your locally elected state leadership and your city leadership as well. You can make this shit happen. It takes getting involved. It takes showing up. And it takes doing a little bit of extra work. All right? But you can make it happen. You can make these establishment cowards shake in their boots. And what is really, really awesome as well, just to kind of underline how unique the moment in time we are inhabiting is, Donald Trump is at record low popularity. MAGA is getting disaffected with Donald Trump. And I don't say that lightly. I want to show you guys poll numbers from Fox News from today. All right? Just take a quick look at this. The number one issue to conservatives is the economy. Donald Trump having a 31% approval rating on the economy, I like, we might genuinely see his approval hit the 20%, like the 20s. It's crazy. This is on Fox News. This is the friendliest poll they can put together for him. This is devastating. So when we start looking at this, it starts to become very clear. We are at a moment of unique weakness for the Republican Party. I know that we talk a lot about the dangers, a lot about the ways Republicans are misusing their power, abusing their power, and attempting to crush each and every one of us. But they are also uniquely weak at this moment in time. All right? And the longer the economy gets worse and worse, like, the more MAGA is going to start looking elsewhere. And I want to share with you guys a clip from CNN from earlier today. Let's see if we can get this up and running. Will this play? Hope so. It's pointless if I can't get the video to play.
You're looking at live pictures there of the kickoff celebration to the Great American State Fair on the National Mall. It includes flyovers from fighter jets and stealth bombers, musical performances by the U.S. Army and Marine bands, Lee Greenwood singing God Bless the USA, and President Trump delivering remarks. Somewhere down there in the crowd is seen as Donnie O'Sullivan, and he filed this report for us.
All the fun of the fair.
I'm very excited. I have come all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii.
This is the Great American State Fair.
We're going to see the president, and we're really excited. This is a great day.
I remember as a kid celebrating 1976 and the bicentennial, and here I am all these years later, probably just as stupid as I was back then. But I'm very proud of the United States, and no matter who the president is, I love the country.
Ostensibly, this is a celebration of America's 250th birthday. But like all things here in Washington, D.C., President Trump has made it about himself. Trump is kicking it all off with a campaign-style rally, one that he says is the rally to end all rallies.
Today will be my 116th Trump rally. A Trump rally, it's the greatest show on earth.
Now, there was supposed to be a whole slate of musical artists playing at this fair over the next few weeks, but many of them pulled out because they said it was too political an event.
The artists who pulled out, they have the right to make their own choice. We're allowed to make our own decisions, but we can also get along as far as that.
Instead, Trump favorite Lee Greenwood will be performing, and Alexis Wilkins. She's the girlfriend of the FBI director, Kash Patel. Lee Greenwood is performing tonight. And so is Kash Patel's girlfriend, who's a country singer. So,
oh no, country music. Well, I think the Army band will in the choirs. I'm sure they're going to be really good.
You're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All of this is happening with a backdrop of a split in MAGA about Israel, Iran, and the economy.
I'm never happy with war, I will say. However, I have chosen to trust that the administration knows things I don't know, and I can only hope that it's over soon.
And Donnie O'Sullivan joins us now. Donnie, how's it going? Has Kash Patel's girlfriend performed yet?
Hey, Anderson. Yeah, she sang the national anthem. Seemed to go down pretty well here. We've had B-52 bombers flying overhead all night. Trump is about to take the stage. And just to give you a sense of what this Great American State Fair feels like, this is sort of a lot of the setup. You see these sort of fake pillars and fake gold American eagles there. That in there tomorrow is where the pavilions for the states that are taking part are being set up. And also there's a miniature version of Trump's proposed arch that he wants to build here in Washington, D.C. So a lot for all the family to see and do here in the next few weeks.
Now, I just want to ask real quick. You guys notice anything about this frame? There you are, Megan Fox's giant boobs. That is the deadest fair I have ever seen. Donald Trump is about to speak. Everyone has already left. Like, he's basically begging people to show up for his 4th of July rally. It's crazy. All right? Like, the fact that is a live report. That is a live report. That reporter is there minutes before Donald Trump takes the stage. And they're all fucking gone. Like, the problem is here, guys, we're in a unique moment for the weakness of the Republican Party. And not only that, but we are also seeing that leak over into how he is trying to approach the Republican Party on Capitol Hill. This happened earlier today. Trump cancels plans to sign housing bill in latest sign of tension with his party. So basically, guys, there was a bipartisan housing bill to try and like alleviate housing costs across the country. You know, it's pretty non-effective. It's a Republican bill, of course. But Donald Trump decided, after it had already been voted on in the House and the Senate, that he doesn't want to sign this housing bill until it is put into the Save America Act, because he desperately wants to sabotage American democracy. And he thinks that by playing hardball with Congress like this, they're going to crumple and they're going to just put the Save America Act into this housing bill. The problem with that is that's not how any of this works. It's not how any of this works. I believe if the president doesn't veto a bill, it does become law. I know that happens in a number of different states. I'm not quite sure. Let me double check that before I say it out loud. Yeah, okay, if the president doesn't sign a bill within 10 days, it does not, wait, Okay, if Congress adjourns while the bill is awaiting signature and the president does not sign the bill within 10 days of presentment, the bill does not become law. But if Congress is in session, if the bill is not signed within 10 days, it does become law, even without the president's signature. So it depends on whether or not Congress is in session. But basically, what that means is if Congress remains in session, like it automatically passes into law anyway in 10 days. So he's trying to use leverage where he doesn't really have leverage. The president closed by preaching unity, but he spent the entire hour talking about things which were not exactly unifying. Senator John Cornyn. By the way, you're going to start seeing a lot of John Cornyn talking with reporters, specifically because Donald Trump backstabbed him, and he's going to be a salty bitch about it. Right? Incredible. Just last week, Thune thought he had a plan to reauthorize a key spy tool after Democrats refused to renew it unless Trump pulled back his selection of Bill Polt, a loyal attack dog, as acting director of national intelligence. So Thune pressed for a more palatable permanent director, allowing the Senate to swiftly confirm him before Polt took the reins. When Trump then nominated Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, to take the job permanently, crisis seemed averted. Then, just hours before the confirmation hearing was scheduled to begin last week, Trump blew up that plan in a similar fashion, writing in a 4 a.m. social media post that he would not sign legislation reauthorizing the spy tool unless it included the Save America Act. The problem here, guys, is that these are all pieces of legislation that Republicans do want to pass. They do want to reauthorize spying tools. They do want to pass bills that allow them to try and claim when they try to campaign for re-election that they were helping Americans stay in their homes. You know, they want to do these things. The problem is Donald Trump keeps blowing them up. And that is pissing off a lot of members of Congress. So, all of that being said, Donald Trump is now weak both from his own electorate, he's weak from even his diehard MAGA base, and he's also weak when it comes to the day-to-day politicking of Congress and Washington, D.C. in general, right? This is a really big problem for him. And so we should all take heart in that big problem. We should see that big problem for Donald Trump as a gigantic opportunity for all of us. Because I'm going to throw out one last thing before we end this very long segment. I know we've been going for a long time here. Maybe we'll have to break this up into 2 parts. But when we look at what exactly is going on across America, I cannot escape the specter of Evelyn Normie-Lib. And if you guys don't know who Evelyn Normie-Lib is, let me introduce you. Right? Evelyn Normie-Lib is a mild-mannered retired teacher. Right? She voted for Buttigieg in 2020 because he reminds her of her grandson. She has a little sign in her yard that says, "In this house, we believe." And also, Evelyn Normie-Lib is very, very, very fucking angry right now and is going out into the streets saying things like, "The blood of the tyrant shall water our fields." You know? That's basically every white-haired person in Minnesota right now. Right? In Minnesota, especially post-ICE occupation and Operation Metro surge, older, mild-mannered liberals are fucking angry. And I want you guys to understand that that anger is not limited to just Minnesota. I'm just referencing it because I know it, right? And how things work in Minnesota, I think might be similar to how things work where you guys live, which is that people have long memories. And people here in Minnesota aren't going to forget Operation Metro Surge. We aren't going to forget it. And not only are we not going to forget it, we are going to bring it up all the damn time in the most passive-aggressive ways imaginable. And people are going to get angrier and angrier, and they're going to vote for somebody that is going to operationalize that anger when it comes down to things like abolishing ICE. I can guarantee you, after Operation Metro Surge, there is a majority here in Minnesota among liberals that wants ICE abolished. All right? What does that mean? Well, let me give you the perfect example of what I mean. So here in Minneapolis, there is an event called the Minneapolis Cat Tour. And it's an event dedicated to cats, as one might assume from the name. And, well, it's basically an excuse usually for people to put on shirts that have cats on them, etc., for people to bring cats and just really hang out. It's pretty chill, right? Well, I want to share something here, just a small exchange. This is the of course, the sash of the Grand Marshal of the Cat Tour.
Thank you for prosecuting ICE, Mary Moriarty.
So that woman wearing the sash there, that's Mary Moriarty. She's one of the local, she's the local prosecutor. She got made Grand Marshal of the Cat Parade and the Cat Tour. Sorry, Cat Tour Parade. And everyone there, you know, like she's wearing, by the way, incredible shirt here with cats all over it. It's very silly, very fun. But even at this low stakes event, you're having people who are turning out to a goddamn cat parade, saying on the megaphone, while anointing her the Grand Marshal of the event, "Thank you for prosecuting ICE." Because every single person there remembers Operation Metro Surge and remembers that they fucking hate ICE and they fucking hate MAGA. There is, like, the amount of anger that has congealed into a solid mass is really difficult to put into words. But people in Minnesota are fucking furious. And that, I think, is indicative of the general electorate across America for various reasons. And people like Zoran Mandani, they recognize that anger. People within the DSA, they recognize that anger. The lefties in your local Democratic Party, they recognize that anger. And most of the libs in your local Democratic group also understand it, because they experience it too. Because they're Evelyn Normie libs. Right? And these, the thing that people like Hakeem Jeffries don't get, and these establishment Democrats don't get, is that that anger demands an answer. And that answer, it cannot simply be going back to a status quo. That anger cannot be answered by, we're going to tackle affordability with vague plans that don't really help many people at all. Right? It is not an anger that can be answered with a return to normalcy. It is an anger that demands justice. It demands accountability. It demands the abolishment of these different mechanisms that have oppressed us. It demands change. It demands people who are willing to fight against the people who have corrupted our political system. And who exactly has done that? It's the people with all the goddamn money. It's the billionaires. It's the oligarchs. It's the trillion-dollar multinational conglomerates that own almost everything. Those are the people who are corrupting our system, the entities that haunt it. And those are the things we need to change. That power dynamic must shift. And I think we are now seeing the birth of a political movement that understands that and might just be capable in this unique moment of weakness in both the Democratic Party and the MAGA coalition. A change like the one Zoran Mandani is spearheading out of New York, that might very well be the catalyst to shift us into a better, brighter future where children can hope again. So I hope you all will be part of the solution. I hope you will all get out there, knock on doors, do phone banking, text banking. I hope you guys will join your local Dems. I hope you guys will join your local DSA, because it is only when we get involved and work to change the system that the system actually changes, because it does not acquiesce to hollow words. It takes action. So, hope you'll join me. Once more, I'll ask you guys, join your local Dems, join your local DSA. We can help you do that. And you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about all this that's going on. And also, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks, etc. It is comfortable, sexy, non-tucking lingerie. ImogeneOlivia.com, link down below in the description. Let's keep on going. Whew. All right. That was a doozy. Yeah. I'm gonna delete that. We don't need that stream element. There we go. Turning back on the alerts. Lamale or Lamail 411. Thank you for the 500 biddies. Appreciate it. I love trans people. I love trans people too. All right, let me read out some of these donos real quick. Megan Fox's giant boobs, Statler and Waldorf here are old enough to remember what happened the last time we tried to negotiate with fascists. Mom Donnie, says Balthazar228. Thank you for the $2 super chat. None of them even try to pronounce it. That's very true. It's I think it's a conscious act of disrespect. Big Grackle, thank you for the $5 super chat. Taps Mike, hello, is this thing on? Fuck Jeffries. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Excellent. One of the best TED Talks I've ever heard. One-Eyed Weirdo, thank you for the $5 super chat. Don't forget Mojo Nixon. If you do, your stream will need some fixing. I appreciate that. Philip November, thank you for the $5 super chat. On the whole Carville thing, the Democratic Party can't move on until the worst offenders pass away. I do think that there is an element of truth to that, you know? But I think instead of waiting for them to pass away, you know, get a head start. The more prepared we are for the handing off of the torch, the easier it will be to get said torch. Right? Almost forgot to ask, did you see that Cory Booker has ties to Peter Thiel? No, but I'm not surprised. Wait, yes I did. From the dialogue leak, right? I talked about that earlier this week, last week? Some point. The call-in shows have been struggling to find MAGA chuds, which I think is a good sign. It's true. People are becoming more embarrassed to be MAGA, which is only a wonderful thing, you know? Also, Anime Sidekick Gal, thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. Holy shit, thank you very much. Very, very much appreciate the support. The line is starved. It's true. Also, all of the transphobes just call into the other shows. Transphobes, go call into the fucking transatlantic call-in show. All right. Let's tackle the donos from site chat. All right. Pluvius, thank you for the $5 dono. We don't have any useless presidents, Kaiba. What we do have is the unstoppable Nick Zodia. Pluvius, thank you for the $5 donos. Liberals love Hamilton, so in that spirit, the resurgence of the real left is the voters asking, if you stand for nothing, Dems, what will you fall for? True. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Mom Donnie was obviously born in Uganda, South Bronx. You know, I think there's an excellent case to be made here. Comrade Girl 2018, thank you for the $5 dono. Serious question, do you think it's possible to turn the Democratic Party into a Dem-Soc party, or would we still need to do party surrogate? I do think it's possible to transform the Democratic Party, you know? The character of the Democratic Party has changed in the past, right? Like the whole the whole Southern switch, or Southern switch, the whole party switch rather, was a process. But a lot of people seem to think like the party switch happened quickly, and it didn't happen quickly. It was a product of like many years of different political, machinery turning, as it were. Not the Southern strategy. I'm not talking about the Southern strategy. I'm talking about the party switch. God, I'm not talking about the Southern strategy. I'm talking about the party switch. Where the Democrats used to be the conservative party, Republicans used to be the leftist party, and then they swapped. They are related. Yes, they are fucking related. You Dems are the party of slavery. Yeah, all of those liberal slave owners, all of those leftist, Marxist slaveholders. It's true. God, people really do be eating rocks over in Conservo land. It's crazy. But yeah, I think that basically what the project that I propose, right? Every single time I tell you guys to get involved with your local Democratic Party, every single time, the project I'm proposing and putting before you and asking you to participate in is effectively the project of moving the Democratic Party to the left, which is something we can do. The way that we do that is by getting involved in the Democratic Party and changing the makeup and character of the party by changing its constituent parts. Does that make sense? Right? So that's the basic premise. And you can do that, and you can do a lot of good by getting involved on the local level, because that's where you can cut off corporate conservative Democrats. You can cut them off at the root before they even get started. Right? So, yeah. Yeah, the party switch is the product of essentially African Americans being in the electorate, and you had the Great Migration to the north of America, and a lot of African Americans took up in cities, and you effectively establishing a dynamic where if you were a politician in a city, a vote is a vote. But the way to get votes from African American voters was to propose, policies that benefited this new constituency, right? So the party switch happened because Democrats in the North started catering policies towards this new demographic and started building up a political power base around African American participation in democracy. And that in turn led to a switching of which party stood for what. And it's not like I don't want to say that Democrats at that time in particular were doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. It was cold political calculus, and many of them were still extraordinarily racist. But that is what realigned the parties. It switched because of the civil rights movement and the New Deal. No, the switch was happening far before the civil rights movement and far before the New Deal. It was happening, like it began as that great African American migration happened. I don't think Democratic Party entryism is a good idea. That's fine. You don't got to participate in that. You can go do your own thing. Stop knowing so many things. Friends, just stay thirsty for more knowledge, all right? Yeah, because I get the Southern strategy and the party realignment mixed up in my head because they are related. I think you could view the window of time during which like the party swap happened, the party realignment, whatever you want to call it, kind of ending with the establishment of the Southern strategy, you know? I have to go when I start learning. I'm sorry. All right. It was soon after emancipation. I forgot exactly what legislation was passed. Well, there were bills on the books until like the I want to say the late 1880s, early 1890s that guaranteed like African American participation in voting. And those were undone because they were viewed as unnecessary, and by obviously white supremacists who then passed Jim Crow laws to disenfranchise African Americans. It was a deeply fucked up time, much like the time we live in now. Oh, we're thirsty, all right. Hey. Being into politics as much as I am has not been beneficial for my social life. That's because you have to start hanging out with politics nerds. You got to start going to your local Democratic meetings. You got to start going to your local DSA. I guarantee you will meet cool peeps. All right.
Excited all week to be.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you guys ready to talk about James Fishback? Because we got more show going on. Boo. I'm excited to talk about James Fishback. We haven't really talked about him a whole lot. See here. I'm gonna turn on the alerts again. Yeah, that works. Boink. Is James a Democrat or a Republican? Let's see if you guys can figure it out. All right. You guys ready? I'm ready. Oh, wait. Sake Tanuki dropped the link. I did not actually finish reading off the donos. Sake Tanuki, thank you for sending this link. What is it?
How about I do any
Hell yeah. Love it. Pluvius, thank you for the $5 dono. Oof, you hate to see an old white guy call a brown guy articulate, don't you? I do. I do hate that. All right, here we go. So, folks, we got to talk about a guy by the name of James Fishback. He is a politician running for the governor's seat in Florida. And he's a Republican. But he's maybe a different, cooler kind of Republican than you might be used to. So let's take a look at his initial post announcing that he is running for governor. Breaking! I'm running to succeed Ron DeSantis as Florida's next Republican governor to make life more affordable for you and your family. I'll stop the H-1B scam, tell Blackstone they can't buy our homes, cancel AI data centers, and abolish property taxes. You know, because he's one of the cool Republicans.
My name is James Fishback, and I'm running to succeed Ron DeSantis as Florida's next Republican governor. I'm running for Florida governor so I can make life more affordable for you and your family. Easier to afford groceries, to buy a home, to raise a family, and when it's all said and done, to retire with dignity. I'll do that by stopping the H-1B scam so our workers, especially our college grads, can get jobs again. I'll tell Blackstone, Airbnb, and foreign investors that no, in Florida, you can't buy our homes because our homes are for families. And I'll stop the construction of any AI data center that threatens to raise our electricity bills or poison our water supply. And I'll completely and totally eliminate property taxes for every Florida resident, because in America, you don't rent your home from the government. You own it, free and clear.
Now, I know that there are some people who are going to be like, yes, a guy who's going to ban AI data centers, a guy who's going to stop, corporations from buying houses? Wait a minute, I could get behind this. But then you're like, wait a minute, what was that about H-1Bs being a scam? Yeah, that he's, yes, I did accidentally pause after he said, I'll tell blacks. Or did I? And you'll know what I mean by that in a moment here. Don't worry, guys. I assure you, he is very racist. As you might have been able to ascertain by the fact that he is saying, hey, black and brown people are coming into the country on H-1B visas and stealing all the jobs.
Nowadays, not all Republicans are the same. If a Republican politician supports the H-1B scam that fires our workers, he can't be our next governor. If he goes out and supports the building of AI data centers that threaten our electric bills and our water supply, he can't be our next governor. And if he goes to Congress and does nothing for us but makes millions of dollars trading stocks for himself, he can't be our next governor. Congressman Byron Donalds can't be our next governor because he won't fight for Florida like Ron DeSantis has. I will. I'll fight to preserve Governor DeSantis' wins by keeping Florida free from DEI, radical transgenderism, Soros-backed prosecutors, child predators, voter fraud, and the millions of illegals that invaded our country on Kamala Harris's watch.
Hey, wait a minute. What was that one part he just said? 1 second.
Has. I will. I'll fight to preserve Governor DeSantis' wins by keeping Florida free from DEI, radical transgenderism, Soros-backed prosecutors, child predators.
Wait, what was that last one?
Prosecutors, child predators.
I wonder why I played that part multiple times. Surely for no real reason at all.
voter fraud, and the millions of illegals that invaded our country on Kamala Harris's watch. I'll do that because, unlike Byron Donalds, I'm not a politician. I'm an investor and a businessman. I stood up to Wall Street, I sued the Federal Reserve, and I filed a landmark brief with the Supreme Court defending President Trump's right to fire corrupt federal officials. I started Incubate Debate, a free high school debate league for thousands of kids across Florida.
Foreshadowing has been known as a literary device.
Free high school debate league for thousands of kids across Florida so they could learn how to debate, discuss, and grow as Americans. I love our state. I am a fourth-generation Floridian. My great-grandfather fought in World War I and then owned a small hotel on Fort Lauderdale Beach. My grandfather fought in World War II and ran 750 head of cattle in Okeechobee. My father proudly drove the city bus in Broward County, where I was born and raised. I went to Florida public schools from kindergarten to graduation. Even though I grew up in South Florida, I now call the Panhandle home. I'm an unapologetic Christian who believes that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And I'm a proud American who will never apologize for our history. In the coming
Huh. How about that? Anyway,
months, I'm going to meet as many Florida voters as I can, where they live, work, and pray. I'll visit all 67 counties because Florida's next governor has to be someone you can see, talk to, and even debate with. I look forward to seeing you soon. My name is James Fishback, and I approve this message because Florida is our home, America is our birthright, and we will never let them steal it from us.
Yeah, so James Fishback is interesting, to say the least. I haven't really talked about him all that much because, frankly, he's been largely irrelevant. However, he has been getting platformed quite a bit, right? There have been rumors of different ways he's going to connect in with the conservative ecosystem, of course. You saw him on Fox News there. And I did want to just say, I think this guy's maybe really bad. You know, I think he might just be a really bad guy. And let's take a quick look at why I might think that. Now, you might have heard of the debate league that he talked about forming in his campaign video there. Is he popular? No, but I keep seeing the worst people talking about him. So I figure I'm going to talk about him too and just put another nail in hopefully the coffin of his political career. Right? Now, if you go to James Fishback's Wikipedia page, so it's pretty interesting. There's you get a full rundown of a lot of his different views. Of course, he opposes things like same-sex marriage, wants to ban it completely. But you'll also notice that as you go down the list of different things on his Wikipedia page, you get the section titled Legal Issues, and then a section that says Sexual Grooming Allegation. Huh. in 2022, hey, that was 4 years ago, the Broward County School District cut ties with Fishback and his organization Incubate Debate following allegations that he sexually groomed the 16-year-old employed by Incubate Debate. Fishback was 27 at the time. The allegations led to the resignation of an Incubate Debate board member. Fishback threatened the parents who made the allegation with legal action. Fishback and the employee moved in together in spring of 2023 after she turned 18 and were briefly engaged in 2024 before publicly breaking up. Fishback has denied any inappropriate contact prior to the employees reaching the age of consent, a denial which she disputes. No, guys, there's nothing to it. Just an allegation that he sexually groomed a 16-year-old girl that he employed. I also just want to point out that Incubate Debate works with middle schoolers and high schoolers. And, yeah. Maybe this guy... I don't know, guys. Maybe conservatives shouldn't be embracing dudes who have a history of grooming children. Allegedly. Now, I do want to say that there's no hard evidence that he did anything untoward, but I will note that it's deeply, deeply, deeply weird that the underage girl he was accused of grooming moved in with him when she turned 18 and then they got engaged. I do think that that is very weird if nothing untoward was happening. Because, just want to throw it out there, it's not often that an 18-year-old fresh out of high school decides to get engaged to a man who's 11 years older than her. That's pretty weird. But anyway, moving right along here, it does start to make sense why the Republican Party might be inclined to really embrace someone like James Fishback when you have, national level stories like this piece out of Bloomberg Law. RFK Jr.'s HHS to divert funds from teen pregnancy grant program. They're canceling millions of dollars to teen pregnancy prevention. Because they want unplanned teen pregnancy. Like that's like a core component of a lot of these weird freaks in positions of power in the conservative party, right? And the reason I say that is it's exactly like when you actually look at the data, the reason birth rates have been declining is because there's no longer a huge problem of teen pregnancies. Because kids get sex ed and have access to birth control. And conservatives look at that and they say, but the birth rate's going down. We have to get the kids pregnant. Like, that's literally what's happening here. It's being made into policy. But, it's not surprising that James Fishback would find a home in the Republican Party. Now, just going through a lot of his, social media today, I stumbled across a few interesting things. Notably, I found this here. Join me and special guest Joel Webbin in South Florida this Saturday for our campaign's largest rally yet. As always, our events are free, open to the public, and no RSVP is needed. Okay, well, that's interesting. Who's this Joel Webbin guy? not super familiar with this man. What's going on here? Who is this guy? Well, let's take a look. Let's just open up this tab that I have prepared about Joel Webbin for some reason, and let's see here. Okay, he's a husband, father, pastor, and the president of Right Response. Okay, so he's a godly man. All right. The average Christian woman on social media is Arsler. I don't mean to be rude, but this is a lesson for the general public that is simply too valuable to pass up. First, I will truthfully and plainly answer the woman's question without apology. I am against interracial marriage. That is to say, I believe interracial marriage generally goes against God's normative design for humanity, nations, and cultures. Now, allow me to demonstrate why the question is so stupid by providing a line of actual good reasoning that would have produced far more clarity, beginning with the woman's vague and ambiguous question. 1. Are you for or against interracial marriage? 2. If against, do you believe interracial marriage is a sin? 3. If a sin, do you believe the act of entering an interracial marriage is a one-time sin, or does it place the individuals in a state of ongoing and continual sin? 4. If a sin, do you believe interracial marriage should be categorized as a crime? 5. If a crime, what penalty do you believe is justified for the civil magistrate to inflict upon the criminal? In other words, there is a million miles of distance between being against interracial marriage and capital punishment being the just penalty for those who enter into an interracial marriage. The majority of Christian nationalists I have partnered with would answer yes to the first question, but no to the following questions. I personally fall into this category, believe it or not. Nick J. Fuentes also falls into this category and has said so many times publicly. Some Christian nationalists I've partnered with would answer yes to the first two questions, but no to all following questions. In regards to answering yes to the second question, these individuals would say the act of entering into an interracial marriage is a one-time sin, but does not place the individuals into a state of ongoing and continual sin. I personally disagree with these individuals, but I'm not ashamed to call them my brothers. I believe they are wrong in this specific position, but there is no legitimate witness from either scripture or 2,000 years of church history that would condemn their position as a heresy, and therefore the individuals who hold such a position should be accepted as brothers in Christ. Thank you for attending my brief lecture in how to think reasonably as a Christian, and why women, even Christian women, are generally incapable of doing so. This is why I make no apology in consistently saying that women should log off of social media and devote their attention to baking pies, apple preferably, God bless. Yeah, he like in case you're wondering, he does think it was a mistake to enfranchise women. So, you know, he's bigoted against, the mixing of different races, and also just hates women in general. But he would never say he hates women. He would just call them all stupid baby-brained morons who can't be trusted to think for themselves. An excellent companion for Mr. Fishback. Now, what else is this? Maybe that was a bad day. Maybe he just, maybe he fell into his keyboard and all that just happened to come out as he rolled around getting stung by some kind of jellyfish. The things that people in Florida have to deal with, I guess. I don't know. Now, I do want to say that there is other elements here. Now, I am not going to play this video for you guys. But he put together a lecture, sermon, what have you. White parents need to have the talk with their kids. And this is an image of a man who is deeply mentally unwell who stabbed a woman on the subway. And in this video, he argues that white parents need to teach their kids to be racist because it's a matter of moral clarity to be racist. That's his position, right? Basically, it is a lecture on why you should be afraid of black people if you're white. Yeah, like, he's actually evil. Like, he's actually, like, a deeply evil individual. God. Now, let's just watch a clip of him here. Just in case you're wondering, maybe we need to see him in action.
The high water mark in these United States for the black community was probably in the early 1900s, a few decades before the Civil Rights Movement, before Hart-Celler, where most, not all, it was never all, but most of the black families were intact. There were strong families. There was still a disparity of sorts between the white community and the black community, but the gap was actually narrowing. Black people were catching up. They realized that if they wanted a piece of the American pie, it wasn't going to be handed to them for free. They weren't entitled to it. They were going to have to work hard. There was a certain humility that the average black person in America at that time possessed. They weren't saying, oh, Whitey stole everything from me, or I was wronged. No, they actually recognized that in large part, white people ruled the country and built the country, and if they were going to have their place in the country, they were going to have to do everything they could to rise to the level of excellence and morality that white people at that time were portraying. And so things...
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, as we all know, all white people were displaying excellence and morality back in the early 1900s.
Improved. And then it was all ruined. It was ruined by Marxist Jews and psyops like Martin Luther King, Michael Luther King, and Rosa Parks, and all the rest to convince black people that we was kings once upon a time. The high water mark in these United...
Yeah, so in case you had any doubts about the exact kind of person he is, he also believes that Jews run the world and are destroying everything, and also that black and white people cannot live and coexist side by side and should not be allowed to get married to one another, and that race mixing is bad. You know, he's... what I would describe... Do you guys remember the movie Django Unchained? He is desperately trying to emulate Leonardo DiCaprio's character from that movie, Calvin Candide. But the actual character he would be in that movie are the whipping the whip guys who get offed early in the film, right? Who, you know, they use the scripture. One of them literally just puts passages and pages of the Bible all over his shirt while preaching about the moral degeneracy of a slave who was caught doing something. And no, it's the he's not Calvin Candy. Because Calvin Candy wasn't a preacher. The Brickle Brothers? I think it was the Brickle Brothers. The elder Brickle brother. You know, putting on the armor of being religious, but then obviously being full of horseshit and hatred. But that's who James Fishback I keep wanting to say Beck. But is throwing his lot in with. And I do want to throw this out there. This is an actual post from James Fishback's account from June 23rd. And I actually saw a screenshot of this floating around, and I thought it was fake. All it says is that it says Byron Donalds is black. My new ad. Race doesn't matter, ideas do. I'm just campaigning with the guy who thinks, hey, everybody, Byron Donalds shouldn't be allowed to marry a white lady if he wants. Race doesn't matter. I'm just campaigning alongside a guy who thinks that, black people were better off underneath Jim Crow. Hey everyone, race doesn't matter in this election. I'm just, campaigning with guys who literally think, black people just aren't as good as white people. But it would be really inconvenient for James Fishback if there was like some kind of damning story of him saying some of these incredibly racist things floating around somewhere. Be really inconvenient for him if something like that existed. Huh. You should be lynched. Florida GOP governor candidate faces backlash over slur to black voter. That's so, unexpected. A controversial Republican candidate for governor of Florida was widely condemned after telling a black man, "You should be lynched." The incident, which was shared on social media, occurred after the black voter asked James Fishback about allegations he began a sexual relationship with a woman when she was 17 years old. And boy howdy, is it a decision to call a 17-year-old girl a woman. After the voter described several sexual positions, Fishback replied, "Listen, I don't want you ever speaking about women in our state like that again, ever again," and then told him, "You should be lynched." So, yeah. Yeah. Are these allegations true? I mean, according to the 16-year-old or then 16-year-old, she would say yes. The allegations are true. But as far as we can ascertain, no, they're just allegations. And then after she turned 18, she moved in with him. And then got engaged to him. I don't know. Hey guys, Republicans not be like Republicans, like genuinely, what the fuck? What are you doing in Florida?
Fishback
What's in the
also
water?
sounds like a slur.
It does. It does. I think that's why I keep trying to call him Fishback. That is Woody Allen shit. He literally had a high school debate league. It's genuinely disgusting shit. Also, Saki Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I just... How old was he at the time? 11 years older than her? I just... Oh no, you... I mean, did you really have to know how old he was? Like, he owned a company doing debate for middle schoolers and high schoolers. Even if he wasn't, like, 11 years older than her, it would have been deeply, deeply wrong to have a relationship with an employee. And that employee also was underage. Yeah, look, 11 years, if somebody's 30 and the person they're dating is 41 years old, who gives a shit? But we're not talking about a 30-year-old and a 41-year-old. We're talking about a 16-year-old, allegedly, and a 27-year-old. It's gross. It's gross as fuck. Allegedly. Anyway, yeah, James Fishback sucks, and hopefully this is the last time we ever have to talk about him, because luckily he's been having a really bad week here. Like a really bad week.
Is it just me, or does Fishback sound like he has the cadence of a Civil War-era Confederate?
I mean, he did open his candidacy for governor by showing a picture of a Confederate memorial and saying he would never be ashamed of his history. So, you know, he's purposely cultivated that, I think. Here we go. He's been having a really bad week. In particular, judge orders James Fishback to pay $1.2 million in legal fees. Yeah. His former employer, Greenlight Capital. Courts have already determined Fishback wrongly shared confidential information, including investor lists from Greenlight, with outside entities, including when he launched his own organization, Azoria Partners. So, you know, that's a cool thing to have happen to him. And also, this other part here, AIF poll shows Byron Donalds leading GOP primary by 46 points. So, hopefully, James Fishback gets absolutely no traction, but disturbingly, he does have the support of almost 10% of the Florida electorate. Almost 10% of Florida MAGA look at this man who's campaigning as like a race realist, non-interracial guy who's looking at black people saying you should be lynched, and has a sordid past, allegedly, with an underage girl that he employed. Like, 10% of the MAGA electorate still is like, you know what, though? What if we gave him a chance? Put him in, coach! It's really weird and gross. It's really weird and gross. And like, man, I guess that's all I have to say. I went down this rabbit hole the other day on him, and I was just like, every new fact I learned was just like it was cartoonish how awful he is. Anyway, folks, you want to make sure people like this don't run your state, don't run your city. Get involved with your local Democrats. Get involved with your local DSA, all right? They are available and accessible to any of y'all. We can help hook you up with them, all right? Join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help with DSA, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. And also, folks, check out Progressive Victory. There's a link down below. They will get you plugged in directly to different campaigns across the country to do door knocking, phone banking, text banking, research, etc. They can hook you up with a lot of different opportunities to further the cause everywhere, not just your local area. So check that out. And also, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think about all this? What do you think about James Fishback? And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy lingerie that's non-tucking. Check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com, link down in the description. Let's keep on going. The closest group to me is a 3-hour drive. You can do one of two things. You can participate digitally or form your own branch of DSA. We've had members of the community form their own branches of DSA successfully. It's been pretty cool to see. What time is it where you live? 4:12 a.m. Have to tap out after that one. I also have to tap out after that one. I was hoping we would get the Elon Musk, but I think we lived that a little bit too hard earlier. We lived that a little bit too hard. We lived too close to the sun. But that's fine. All right, folks. We're calling it. We're calling it. Tomorrow night, I might not be streaming. And if I do, it'll probably be something chill in the evening, like late in the evening. But I will be live at 2 p.m. Central Time for the Transatlantic Call-In Show. So do tune into that if you are so inclined. We'll be taking debates or questions, advice, etc. from folks who feel inclined to call in. So if anyone's a transphobe in chat, call in to the Transatlantic Call-In Show. We would love to hear from you. Tell us how degenerate you think we are and be prepared to back up your arguments. All right, folks. Thanks for having us over. Always a Ferris. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. And see y'all later. Bye. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Rat is this. Normal rat's like this. That's a normal rat. Normal rat. raps like this. That's a normal rap. Normal 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 raps like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Sniffs. This, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Sniffs. Point the wire, 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 point the wire. You are now in normal rap. Normal raps like this. That's a 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 normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Sniffs. This, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Sniffs. Point the wire, 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 point the wire. You are now in normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Sniffs. This, like this, like this, like this, like this. That's a normal rap. Like this, like this, like this, like this. Sniffs. Point the wire, point the wire,